see how they approach it, and then you added that line. They've got nothing to lose. Are you saying this is the type of game where defensively and even special teams for Martinsburg, watch out, anything could happen?
Well, yeah, you have to come into a ball game like this. You got to think there are going to be some special plays, and I call them special plays. Most people call them trick plays, and I don't call them trick plays simply because they trick you, yeah, but they're like any other play. If you practice them, to me, they're not trick plays. They're plays you put in your playbook. It's like last week we saw Martinsburg go for a fake conversion on the first touchdown. That wasn't a fake play, or a trick play or anything of that nature. It was just a play they had set up. Didn't work very well, but Martinsburg is off the last week of the season. I'll guarantee you they'll spend a lot of time on those types of plays when you have more time to work on them.
Well, let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team back on the sideline after a couple of week absence. We say good evening to Jason Colrick.
Good evening. It feels good to be back out here on the sidelines instead of working on Friday nights. It's a beautiful night out here. The weather has turned crisp, though. I've had to turn in my shorts and flip-flops for jeans and shoes and a sweater. So it's definitely late in the season. It's hard to believe that we're already in week 9 of the season. It's going to be an exciting night down here. Martinsburg fans are already filing in. They want to be a part of what looks to be and could possibly be a record-setting night here in the state of West Virginia.
Jason, let me quickly ask you. You mentioned that there's a coolness in the air. Tell us about the wind right now that's blowing out there.
Yeah, there is a wind. It's not like real strong, but at times it will gust up, and it looks like it's blowing from your right to left. So it's going to be at an advantage to the team that's going opposite of the scoreboard. In warm-ups, I was watching Catlin, and he actually kicked a 50-yard field goal. He missed one, but he also made one, and with that wind behind his back, don't be surprised if you see the coach give him an opportunity to kick it, because that might be something they need in the playoffs.
There we go, Jason on the sideline. His reports throughout the evening, a service of Mike Folk for State Senate District 16, accountable, ethical, responsible. Well, as the specialty units are on the field and beginning their warm-ups for each team, we need to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from a Bulldog senior player, and as well, check in on the freshman and JV programs. It's the Dog Tag Senior Profile and the Bullpup Report. Our pregame brought to you by W. Harley Miller Systems, providing custom integration services for home and office automation, home theater, networking, audio, video distribution, and more. Give them a call at 304-350-1931. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
WHMsystems.com.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for information.
We welcome you back to the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. Time now for the Dog Tag Senior Profile and the Bullpup Report, a service of the Mirius Group and Ameriprise Financial Advisors Phil McCoy and John Everson. Call Ameriprise Financial Services at 304-263-4343 or stop by 1270 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. We start with our Dog Tag Senior Profile today, talking with Ethan Embry. Ethan, give us an idea of what it's been like playing Martinsburg High School football.
I've been on the team for 4 years now, and every year they always push you. They always drive you to be a better person before a better football player. It's always been like a bonding experience as a team. Most years we have to always be together. When we go down together. It's always just a bonding experience.
What is it like Friday night under the lights?
Friday night under the lights, usually most teams don't know what to expect, but our coaches, they always prepare us properly. They always give us the right looks. They always tell us and teach us the right things. So we're always confident going into our Friday night games.
What is it that you like the most about playing this game of football?
I'm going to have to say it's always been about my friends. I started this game for my friends. My friend Adam Brenniger, he brought me in 8th grade, and ever since then I've just enjoyed the sport.
How about when you're on the field? What's that excitement level? What's the adrenaline rush like?
The adrenaline rush is nothing like it. Most games, you can't beat that feeling when you're just running down to make a tackle or you're running down to make a nice block. Once you get the block and you see the person running past you, you did your job right. It's just, there's nothing like it knowing you did everything right.
Is football your favorite sport?
Yes, it is my favorite sport.
Are you playing any other sports at Martinsburg?
I do wrestling, track, and that's it.
When you're not participating in one of those sports, what do you like to do to maybe just relax?
Usually, because of football, there is no usual relax. It's usually right back into training.
Either training or school. So let's talk about that. How are things going in school? What are some of your favorite classes?
I would say my favorite class is probably social studies. Mr. Zarnecki teaches it. He's always been one of my favorite teachers. I had him back when I was in middle school, and he came all the way back up to high school to teach it. So it's always been my favorite subject.
When asked what he planned to do following graduation, Ethan said he hopes to go into either the Marines or Air Force and begin a military career. That was Ethan Embry in the spotlight of our Dog Tag Senior Profile. Stay tuned. We've got the Bullpup Report coming up after this word from the Mirius Group and Ameriprise financial advisors John Everson and Phil McCoy.
When will I be able to retire? How do I make the most of the money I have? How do I leave a lasting legacy to my loved ones? I'm Philip McCoy, financial advisor with the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated. Call us today at 304-263-4343 to help you make the most of your financial future. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
We continue now with our Bullpup Report as we talk freshman and JV football. We get it started with JV head coach Britt Sherman. Hey, Coach, earlier this week, a matchup against Jefferson. How did it go?
Matt, it went really well for us. We ended up winning 54-0 against Jefferson.
Another game where you did the split squad, so to speak, JV and added some freshmen. Was it good to do that back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I believe, because they knew kind of the drill from last week, and we didn't have any, weeks in between to kind of have them forget about how we were going to run it and stuff like that. But it's fun coaching that age of kids. I mean, high schoolers are, their own breed, and then you get a 9th grade team in there, you get some hungry kids. And it's fun because, like I said, our freshman coaches do a really good job, but when we have more coaches to be able to pay more attention to detail, which is good for those guys to get that coaching.
Did you run 11 in, 11 out a few times like you said you did the week before?
We didn't get a chance to do that this week. They've had a couple injuries, and we're a little thin in some spots, so we just kind of mixed the squads a little bit. Their quarterback played with our O-line for a while, and then we finally got their entire team in there, so we kind of mixed it up like that this week instead.
What did you see, especially from your JV guys and the reps they were able to get?
I mean, continuing to improve. Kayvon Warren, like I said, would probably be anybody else in the area's running back. Jars Thurston is another kid with a name. If he'll put in work in the offseason, will be a great player for us. Dorn Smith scored. Trenton Sherman, Joshua Woodfork. All those guys are doing just a really good job for us offensively. And then, Reese Davis, Terrell Good, Tanner Lucas. Defensively, you're just, wrapping up stuff and not letting anyone score.
What is next for your JV team?
We will wrap up the season at Musselman next Monday at 6 o'clock.
Coach, good luck in that one. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Matt.
JV head coach Britt Sherman joining us with our Bullpup Report. We'll talk freshman football next.
People are talking about WRNR.
Your station is the best.
You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Talk Radio WRNR, your local news, talk sports.
It's time now to talk freshman football with head coach Rob Seville, fresh off that combined JV freshman victory against Jefferson earlier this week. What did you see from your players?
Actually, we looked pretty good. We got in. We got a lot of kids that hadn't got a lot of playing time, got a little bit at the end. But our starters looked pretty good. We moved the ball. We had a lot of backup kids in because we've had some kids hurt. So it was nice to get a look at them to see what we got coming up for football.
Excitement level for these freshman guys when they can be out there blended in with the JV players?
Well, a lot of the kids that actually did get to blend in with them, they get excited. We had some kids play out of positions a little bit this week to experiment with some things, and they were nervous but excited, and that actually did pretty well, and we moved some kids around, so it gave us a good look to see what we could do this week for Fort Hill coming up.
You mentioned injuries. Are you getting any healthier with the big Fort Hill matchup coming?
Well, we lost our running back. He's done for the season with a broken collarbone. We had some kids, well, two ankles, I think, but this week we've kind of healed up a little bit. Hopefully they're ready to go for Monday.
As you're winding down this season, are you getting the sense of maybe the intensity level ratcheting up a little bit, as these guys look forward to the last few opportunities to be on the field?
I think so. I think the 2 weeks with the JV game kind of was tough in practice, not knowing that you're not going to get a full game in. But I think this week our effort has picked up a little bit in practice, knowing it's a true freshman game. We've talked to them about the rivalry and how they'll be disciplined. And I don't know how good they'll be, but they will be disciplined and they'll do what they do very well. So we got to be ready to go for that.
Are you seeing the progress you want to see out of these young players this season?
Yeah, it's been a trying season because games canceled and not a lot of freshman programs left, and by the end of the season we'll only play 5 true freshman games, except for the EPAC, so 6 with that. But it's been trying in that aspect, but it's been good to see them grow and get a chance to play with those JV kids and see what we got for the future.
Give us the details of this Fort Hill game coming up, time, place, all of that.
We would be Monday evening at 6 o'clock at our place against Fort Hill.
Should be a good one, Coach. Good luck.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
There is Rob Seville, freshman head coach, joining us with our Bullpup Report, along with the Dog Tag Senior Profile. They're a service of the Marius Group and Ameriprise Financial Advisors Phil McCoy and John Everson. Call Ameriprise Financial Services at 304-263-4343 or stop by 1270 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. Stay tuned for more of the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
Now.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%. Parsons' goal of financing for all. And Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars, too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Want to cut your cooling costs this summer? With a highly efficient York air conditioning system, you can save up to 50% in energy cost while enjoying more consistent temperatures throughout your home. Call Appalachian Heating and Air, your local York dealer, at 304-260-5644 to schedule a free evaluation of your system and learn how you can move up to a new level of comfort and efficiency this summer. AppalachianHeatAir.com.
And we welcome you back into Cougars Stadium, where the Jefferson get ready to take on the Martinsburg Bulldogs here tonight. In the end zone, it's time for us to go in the end zone. Walker. The conversation brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400
head coach David Walker.
In the conversation brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road in Martinsburg. Let's send it down to Jason.
I am joined down here with Coach Walker. Coach Walker, it's hard to believe it's already week 9 of this season. It's gone by fast.
It really has. It really has. I guess it goes by fast when you're winning. So I guess it goes by really fast when you're winning.
Coach, you guys had a really good win last week against Hedgesville. After reviewing the tape, was it as impressive on tape, or what kind of errors maybe did you see? Coach, you guys had a really good win last week against Hedgesville. After reviewing the tape, was it as impressive?
Didn't really have a lot of complaints
on tape, or
I thought we went out and executed really well.
How was your week in practice this week?
Better. Hedgesville than having Trent. I think they think Jefferson's not that good. So we beat Hedgesville and then having Trent. I think they think Jefferson's not that good. So we had to try to motivate them a little bit this week. So he picked it up a little bit.
Do you think the team was looking at 1-6 or 1-7?
What much to write home about?
Do you think the team was looking at 1-6 or 1-7?
I don't know if they were looking forward to the next game, but I think
maybe what could be a matchup next week.
I don't know if they were looking forward to the next game, but I think they're looking at Jefferson's record.
They still have to do.
Yeah, they're not very good, so we don't have to work. But hopefully we reminded them pretty quick that they still have to do. It's not about them, it's about us. So hopefully we got to
obviously you guys watch
good
film
week
on
out of it.
Jefferson. What is it?
Monday and Tuesday, I was a little concerned about it.
Obviously, you guys watch film on Jefferson. What is it that you guys saw that they like to do?
Well, their offense goes through Pearson. I mean, he's a good player, a really good player, and they're really a lot better than the record indicates. They've got 4 or 5 guys that play for us right now. I mean, they've always got the talent. They just haven't seemed to be able to put it together, so hopefully they can put it together again tonight.
So what is it that you would like to establish tonight? Obviously, it is week 9, only one more regular going into the playoffs. What is it that you'd like to establish tonight?
I'd like for us to get off to a good start and be crisp, not make any mistakes. Of course, anytime we're playing Jefferson, it's always a physical contest. Their kids are going to play us hard. So, I'm expecting this to be in a dogfight. But, if we execute and are crisp, and we'll see what happens.
Coach, it's obviously you've got some injuries. How bad is the injury bug so far this year?
I mean, we're down a few guys. Cello's not playing tonight because he had some wisdom teeth pulled out. And, of course, Dwayne's still not back. Bryce Morris had a season-ending knee injury last week. So, we've got some bumps and bruises and a couple of little more things. But, it's our next man's got to step up. And, so far, everyone that stepped in have done a nice job.
You guys always play 10 straight and then take your bye week at the end of the season. Have you ever considered maybe taking that bye week during the season so that you could get some of those bumps and bruises healed, or do you like being crisp going into the playoffs?
Honestly, it's kind of just worked that way. We're in a situation where we got to get 10 games. So if we have to play that week 11, we will. We've just been fortunate we've been able to fill it and keep it, 10 straight. But, I kind of like having it at the end. But, as long as we got 10 games, we'll take it anywhere. I'd rather not have it the first, second, or third week. But, anywhere mid or end of the year is pretty good.
One of the segments that we always do is keys to the game. Help us out with the keys to the game from a coaching aspect.
Well, I think we have to withstand the emotion, the wave that they're going to have. We kind of, weather the storm and just settle in and play. I think, they're going to come out and play hard, and I think we just have to weather that and be settled in and be ready to play. Try to minimize our mistakes.
Coach, thanks for taking time with us. We'll catch up with you at halftime.
Thank you.
There you go, Matt. Just some thoughts from Coach down here in the end zone.
There you go. The segment with Jason Colrick and Coach Walker, brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road, Martinsburg. In the market for a new or used vehicle, check out their great selection online at parsonsfordofmartinsburg.com. We became number one by making you number one first. Parsons. We need to take another time out on our W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. On the other side of the break, we'll see what's going on elsewhere around the Eastern Panhandle. It's our check of the area schedule. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
Flu vaccine before the flu begins spreading in your community. A special flu shot clinic will be offered on 2 Saturdays in October at WVU Medicine's Spring Mills Urgent Care to help get our community vaccinated in time for flu season. From 8 to noon, October 13th and 27th, flu shots will be offered for just $15 to the first 100 people, only at the WVU Medicine Spring Mills Urgent Care. Take preventative action against the flu with WVU Medicine Spring Mills Urgent Care.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, it makes sense to choose an insurance agent that's a part of your community. Your local Allstate agent knows the ins and outs of both owning and protecting a home in your neighborhood. By choosing a local Allstate agent, you get an expert who knows the community and is committed to getting to know you, which means you'll get the protection that fits you and your life. Are you in good hands? Contact Martinsburg Allstate agent Gary Kelly today for a free quote at 263-4596. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company.
We welcome you back to the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. Time now for our check of the area schedule, and brought to you by Kelly Allstate Insurance, a full-line insurance agency on Lakeview Drive near the intersection of Rockcliffe Drive in Martinsburg. There are 3 other games tonight involving EPAC teams, including one other conference matchup that has Washington visiting Musselman. The Applemen are 7-0, coming off a win at Wheeling Park last week, 41-35. That's 3 straight victories against 3 3 quality opponents. Head coach Brian Thomas.
At the start of the season, pinpointed the past 3 games and thought, it's going to be tough to go into Morgantown and win. Hedgesville is much improved this year. It was going to be a tough game for us. And then, obviously the long bus ride to Wheeling Park, and I knew, they're always good. And I kind of pinpointed those 3 games and thought, man, we're going to find out a lot about our football team those 3 weeks.
Musselman has won 23 of their last 29 games coming in. Meanwhile, Washington is 0-7 this season. They are coming off of a bye week, and while it has been a struggle, head coach Glenn Simpson says it's all about learning.
Every time you get out on that field, whether it's a practice or whether it's a game against one of these great opponents that we have on our schedule, we're making football deposits because we're such a young team. We're learning the game of football at a deeper level as we go through, and there's going to come a time where we're going to be able to make withdrawals on that football deposit, and we're going to have some success.
Musselman scored a win in this matchup a season ago, 50-25. Tonight's game at Waldeck Field at Denny Price Stadium kicking off at 7 p.m. Elsewhere, Hedgesville will try to get back in the win column as they play at Hampshire. The Eagles, dropping a 69-3 decision at Martinsburg last week, have dropped back-to-back games against the Bulldogs and the Applemen. That makes each of the last 2 games this regular season of utmost importance. Hedgesville head coach Joey Urish.
Just one game at a time now. I mean, we put ourselves in a bad predicament, and now we got to win out. So, this one game at a time approach is now becoming more important. You got to win this week's game, and then we get a bye, and then you got to win that last game to get in the playoffs and give yourself a chance to be in that top 10 and hopefully, earn a home game, and if not, then give yourself a game that you can compete in and hopefully win.
Hampshire is just 1-6 on the season, but coming off of their first win as they beat Berkeley Springs last week 52-18. Tonight's game will kick off at 7 p.m. By the way, Hedgesville won last year's meeting 49-14. And tonight at Spring Mills, the Cardinals will entertain Mountain Ridge. Spring Mills at 3-4 snapped a 3-game slide with a win 2 weeks ago against Jefferson and are hoping to make it back-to-back victories. It won't be easy as Mountain Ridge comes in at 5-2, winners of 5 in a row. Spring Mills head coach Chad Williams.
Obviously they present plenty of challenges. You got a very good running back. They're good up front. They run a good physical, disciplined offense, wing T football team. And they kind of present some of the matchup problems that we've struggled with, especially up front this year. So it's going to be a good test for us, and we'll know how far we've come.
Mountain Ridge won last year's meeting in a tight matchup, 33-28. Tonight's game at Spring Mills will kick off at 7 p.m. And our game tonight has the 8-0 Martinsburg Bulldogs visiting the 1-6 Jefferson Cougars. Martinsburg looking to set a new state record as they play for their 37th consecutive victory. We'll continue to preview the matchup on the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show coming up. That does it for our check of the area schedule, brought to you by Kelly Allstate Insurance at 724 Lakeview Drive near the intersection of Rockcliffe Drive in Martinsburg. Phone 304-263-4596. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
Does your daughter have a bigger diamond than your wife? Hi, I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. We see it all the time. Daughters with bigger diamonds than their moms. So, dear husbands, let's fix that problem. Dave and I leave for Antwerp, the diamond capital of the world, on October 21st, where we find the best and bigger diamond that will make mom very happy, which means you are one happy husband. Stop by Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South Inwood, and we'll talk about how a diamond from Antwerp will take care of that little problem.
We're talking flood safety tips with Bill Kearns and Angie Gray from the Berkeley County Health Department.
When you have flooding, it brings the sewage up out of the ground. Most people have the septic tanks, and that water comes to the ground, and everything else comes up with it. When you're out there in the floodwaters, you're exposing yourself to all kinds of nasty bacteria.
We recommend anybody that's been in floodwaters to get their tetanus shot updated. The concern is with open wounds, but a lot of times we have microscopic areas that are open that we're not even aware of.
This flood safety information brought to you by the Berkeley County Health Department, 122 Waverly Court, Martinsburg.
Shenandoah Junction,
with Vic
where
Holmes,
Jefferson High School, where
Jason
the Cougars get ready to take on the Martinsburg Bulldogs, along with Vic Holmes. I'm Matt Miller. Jason Kolrick is down on the sideline.
Well, time for us to take a little deeper look at these Jefferson Cougars.
Our TV 10.
Vic, we heard Martinsburg head coach David Walker say, hey, this team is not as bad as what a 1-6 record may indicate. And when you look at the numbers, they've got some players like Antoine Lewis, along with John Gidney, as wide receivers, averaging 30 and 21 yards a reception. You look at a starting quarterback in Corbin Pearson, who has thrown for 1,032 yards. He's thrown for 8 touchdowns. The big issue there, 7 interceptions. You look at their offensive numbers, 267 yards a game, 155 through the air, 111 on the ground. But the issue has been turnovers. They're -4 in that category, turning it over 14 times while forcing only 10.
Yeah, that's a lot of turnovers. Even if you do get, even if you only. Yeah, that's a lot of turnovers. Even if you do get, even if you're only a -4, that's still a lot of turnovers. I think the big thing we have to look at, statistic-wise, it doesn't look that bad. But what happens a lot of times in teams like this, if you're 1-7 or whatever, those statistics really, really escalate because you're behind. So in the third quarter, fourth quarter, you gain a bunch of yards, the stats look good and all that sort of thing, but you're still 1-7. I think the problem is you have to go back and take a look at what are the stats say from Jefferson to all their opponents in the first half. I think that's where it's more telling, where you see the imbalance, where the opponent has done a much better job offensively than Jefferson has.
Certainly one of the issues for this Cougar team has been putting points on the board, averaging just 16.5 points a game. They've scored 116 points through 7 games. And Vic, you look at 4 of those games, they've scored 26, 24, 22, and last week 32 in a win. But the other 3 games, 6, nothing, and 6. It's been a little bit of feast or famine offensively.
It most certainly has, and I think one of the things that has to happen here tonight for them is they have to get off to a good start, obviously, and to try to maintain control of the football the best way they can. But you know, like you said, it's either feast or famine. They are either playing very well and they're scoring and they're keeping their head above water, or they sink early.
You look at the defense, and the defense last week holding Loudoun Valley to 13 had their best effort. The low beyond that is 22, and then outside of that, the other games, 5 of them in all, they've given up 30 or more, and they've allowed 232 points, or an average of 33.1 points per game, and they've got a stiff challenge tonight trying to slow down a Martinsburg offense that comes in averaging 54 points and 463 total yards a game.
Yeah, again, Martinsburg is just a different animal. They're very, very hard to defend simply because they can hit you from anywhere. From the backfield, I mean, they got guys who can run. They bring guys off the bench who can run and run very well. They can throw the ball short, and they can throw the ball deep. They can throw in between. They can throw, catch, and run. So and plus, you know, even the kicking game, it hasn't exploded yet. But you see signs of it. If you punt the ball to them or kick off to them, you know, they can hurt you there. So there's every angle of the game that you can score. So, and also you have to take a look at punt block. He'll block a punt, run that back for a touchdown, and those types of things. So this is one of those types of games where you're almost going to have to play near perfect game against Martinsburg and have a little bit of luck on top of that.
Well, we will find out from 6th-year head coach Craig Hunter what his thoughts are, first of all, on a big win last week to snap a 17-game losing streak for this Cougar team, and then what he plans to do against these Martinsburg Bulldogs here tonight. We'll hear from Coach Hunter as we continue on the pregame show, brought to you by W. Harley Miller Systems, providing custom integration services for home and office automation, home theater, networking, audio, video distribution, and more. Find them online at WHMsystems.com or phone 304-350-1931. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
Hi, I'm Philip McCoy. Ameriprise Financial has been serving and supporting this community for decades. We believe that every dream is personal and needs a personal plan. That's why you can count on the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, to understand your unique needs and goals. Whether you want to make the most of the money you have, save for a comfortable retirement, or plan to leave a legacy, the Mirius Group can help you realize your dreams of today and tomorrow. Call the Mirius Group at 304-263-4343. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC. When it comes to protecting what matters most, it makes sense to choose an insurance agent that's a part of your community. Your local Allstate agent knows the ins and outs of both owning and protecting a home in your neighborhood. By choosing a local Allstate agent, you get an expert who knows the community and is committed to getting to know you, which means you'll get the protection that fits you and your life. Are you in good hands? Contact Martinsburg Allstate agent Gary Kelly today for a free quote at 263-4596. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company.
We welcome you back to the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. It's time now to hear from sixth-year Jefferson Cougars head coach Craig Hunter. Jefferson coming off a 32-13 win over Loudoun Valley last week.
Feels good. It's been, 2 years trying to get a win. So, the kids played hard, played well, feel real good.
How did you get it done? What did you see from your team?
I thought we just kind of, we followed the game plan. We executed. We were able to run the ball. And, the kids just played extremely hard.
Looking at the games you had over the last couple weeks, you knew you were right there in a couple of those games. How much did the experience in those games help in that win against Loudoun Valley?
Being able to play in close games and, that kind of helps out, and us finally, being able to be in a close game early and finding a way to fight through adversity and get over the hump, helped us out. We were able to, we turned the ball over and was able to get over those adversity problems, be able to push through and get the W.
Take us to both sides of the football. Let's start offensively. What was the key to being able to put up 30-plus points?
Pretty much execute the game plan. That's pretty much it. Execute the game plan and, stay with the game plan and don't get nervous as coaches as the game goes on. If things aren't going right, to try to stick with it as long as we could until we actually had to come out of the game plan, which we didn't have to. So it kind of, worked in our favor. So, it kind of helped us out.
How about on that defensive side? What were you able to do to slow them down offensively?
I thought we played hard and we were always around the ball. As a defense, we were swarming and we were able to make plays. We got some turnovers when we needed them, a couple fumbles, interceptions. So we were just play hard and make plays. That's pretty much it.
A tall task coming up Friday night with the Martinsburg Bulldogs. What do you see in them this year?
They're good. They're really good. You're going to see a team that's probably not as big as they were last year, but they're still big. But I think they're a lot faster and a lot quicker than they were last year. We met, and, we're trying to put forth a game plan this week. Hopefully it help us out a little bit, but, they're really good. It's going to be a team we're going to play that we're not going to be able to make mistakes against.
Last week you talked about being at home and hopefully that home crowd giving you some energy to get the win. It certainly worked out in your favor. How good is it to have a tough opponent like Martinsburg at your home place?
It's going to be exciting to have the home crowd hopefully behind us again this week and, getting ready for this game and, hopefully cheering us on and hopefully trying to disrupt their offense a little bit and making some noise so they can't hear as much or do some things. But, we're just going to go out and play hard and, hope for the best.
How has the victory maybe changed the pep in the steps, so to speak, at practice this week? Have you noticed that intensity level picking up as your guys come off a victory?
Friday was they were pretty intense, excited about the game, and, they're pretty intense in film, watching the film and preparation for Martinsburg, watching the Martinsburg film and trying to get ready. They were living a little bit more intense, a little bit more into it. So hopefully we'll see that today.
And that is Jefferson Cougars head coach Craig Hunter. We'll continue to preview the matchup on the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show after this timeout. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10. It's the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg. That means great savings like the all-new 2019 Ram truck as low as $32,900. How about a 2019 Jeep Cherokee at 0% APR plus $1,500 cash back? Get a 2018 Pacifica for only $24,987. How about a 2018 Jeep Compass for a low $229 a month, or a 2018 Dodge Charger as low as $299 per month? Get a 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan at only $299 per month. It's all at the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Kelly Island Road, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Stock numbers 19049, 19001, and 19319. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tax, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
Welcome you back once again here to Cougars Stadium as the Jefferson Cougars get ready to take on the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Momentarily, along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Jason Colrick down on the sideline. We'll check in with him momentarily. Matt Crawford's at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse, our TV 10 cameraman. Right now it's the marching band for Jefferson that is taken to the field, and the junior ROTC presenting the colors as they make their way towards the midfield stripe. Out of the end zone to our right, working to the center of the field where they now turn and face the home stands. And let's see if we can turn up our crowd mic and pick up the marching band with the playing of today's national anthem.
Placing your right hand over your heart.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Jefferson High School marching band with our national anthem. Well done. The junior ROTC presenting the colors. They will head off the field as we welcome you back once again to Cougar Stadium, getting ready for tonight's high school football matchup. Well, Vic, let's take a quick look at the Martinsburg Bulldogs coming in, averaging 54 points a game while giving up just under 11. And while the Dogs are averaging 463 yards of offense a game, defensively giving up just 148, including just 32 yards a game on the ground. And 5 times out of 8 games this season, they have held an opponent to negative rushing yards.
Well, this has been very common for Martinsburg all year long defensively. You know, you got to give it a lot of credit to Buddy Hessen and his crew defensively, because they've done a great job, especially with a lot of untested guys up front. Now the guys in the back 7, I don't think there's any question about it. They're probably as good as anybody in the state of West Virginia, especially as a group, probably the best. I can't imagine anybody being any better than that group back there, but that front has done a tremendous job, because a lot of times you have situations like this. People will say, well, we can't throw on these guys because the secondary and those linebackers are so good. Let's try to run it. They've tried to run it, and that's been just as bad. So a lot of credit for that, and that has equaled their defense. They've balanced their defense out. A lot of times you hear about teams wanting to balance their offense, balance running, and balance with the passing game. Well, Martinsburg has balanced their defense. They've stopped the run, and they've stopped the pass.
Let's turn now to Keys to the Game, brought to you by Luttrell LC. Let Chris Luttrell hand you the keys to your new home. For all of your real estate legal needs, call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050. Vic, let's start with the visitors from Martinsburg. Keys for them tonight.
Well, I think they've got to get off to a good start. I think they've got to get off to a quick and explosive start and put this Jefferson team at bay very, very quickly. I think if they do that, then I think they'll be in control. Not that they won't be the rest of the ball game, but I think that's what you want to do. You want to continue to build, because you're this late in the season now. You want that good, strong consistency, and I think that's the number one thing. Try to get off to good. They don't have to score the first time they touch it or first couple times, but they have to make an impression. They really have to take their offense and make some things happen out there for their offense.
Let's let's turn the table to the Jefferson Cougars. Keys for them in a very tough matchup tonight.
Well, I think there's several things they've got to do. Number one, and I say this about every team that comes in against Martinsburg, you got to try to control the ball somehow, some way. And again, I always talk about it, and we saw it happen last week with Hedgesville. I don't know, Hedgesville had the right idea, running that play clock down, and that shortens the game, and it shortens the number of minutes that the Martinsburg team will have the ball. Secondly, they have to eliminate the big play. Jefferson can't allow the 30, 40, 50, 60-yard catch and run or run for a score, 50, 60, 70 yards, and boom, they score, and then right back, and then there's another 3 down and out, and you got this another big play. Thirdly, I think Jefferson, obviously, really, really a menace for them this year. They can't turn it over. If they turn it over, they're in deep, deep trouble, and I think they know that. And I think if they are able to try to sustain the drive and keep the ball a little bit, they feel like they have a fighting chance.
There you go. Keys to the game, a service of Chris Luttrell at Luttrell LC, locally owned. They know the business, and they're part of the community. You could win every time when it comes to your real estate legal needs. Just call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050. Let's check in with Jason one more time down on the sidelines.
Matt, it's definitely an exciting night down here. You guys are walking through the crowd. Everybody's talking about the potential of Martinsburg being able to get that 37th straight win. Both teams had a nice warm-up, and you know what? We talked about in the pregame, the wind has actually even picked up a little bit more than what it was. So any team that's going from the scoreboard end to the other end is definitely going to have an advantage tonight.
There you go, Jason, on the sidelines throughout the evening. We'll be checking in with him throughout the ball game. That's going to wrap it up for our pregame show, a service of W. Harley Miller Systems. You can check them out online at WHMsystems.com or phone 304-350-1931, providing custom integration services for home and office automation, home theater, networking, audio, video distribution, and more. When we come back from this timeout, we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. A few new names as the Dogs suffering through some injuries going into this Week 9 matchup. The lineups after this. It's West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
Who should you call when it comes to your real estate legal needs?
This is Chris Luttrell, local real estate attorney with offices in Martinsburg and Charlestown. Let's be direct. Buying or selling your home is a matter not to be taken lightly. At my firm, Luttrell LC, we possess the experience and knowledge to represent you and ensure your most important investment is protected. Give us a call at 304-267-3050, 304-267-3050, because at Luttrell LC, your home is our business.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learn@valley.com.
Concludes today's pregame show.
We play every play like it's the most important play of the game. Who let the dogs out?
Coming up next, it's the starting lineups, opening kick, and play-by-play action of West Virginia high school football, featuring the AAA Martinsburg Bulldogs. Today's game is being brought to you by
Miller Honda, 3985 Valley Pike, Winchester. Appalachian Heating and Air, where quality meets comfort. WVUH East, the best in healthcare close to home. Bechtel Jewelers, exceptional service at affordable prices. Berkeley County Health Department, get your free radon test kit today. The Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc. Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, are you in good hands? Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And Valley College, graduate with a career you love at Valley College.
And now, let's go back to the field and rejoin our...
Well, time for us to take a look at the probable starting lineup for the Martinsburg Bulldogs, brought to you by D&N Auto Specialist. If your vehicle is not starting properly, then start at D&N Auto to get it fixed right the first time. Family owned and operated since 1974. Phone them at 304-267-4065. 78. We'll begin with the offense where Grant Harmon starts at quarterback. We'll see Elijah Banks out there as well. Look for Naeem Kearney to get the start at tailback. We'll see Trey Sine out there. Interesting enough, we saw Asa Creamer-Gaskins run the football in a couple of the plays that they ran during warm-ups. Haven't seen him in the backfield since last year. Cello Teneval out after having wisdom teeth removed this week, so look for Michael Boite along with Matt Van Duzer, Gerard Bowie, and Teddy Marshall to start at wide receiver. Matt Bednarski and Brandon Moran are tackles. Michael Cullinan and Ty Lucas are guards. And Aaron Pearson is the starting center. Could see A.J. Brinegar out there as well. Defensively for the Dogs, Bednarski will be at a defensive end along with Asa Creamer-Gaskins. Ty Lucas is the starting nose guard. Outside linebackers will be Anthony Smith and Nathan Schweinbraten, while Trey Sine moves to an inside backer along with Aaron Pearson and R.J. Barrett. Teddy Marshall and Michael Boite will be the corners, and Grant Harmon is the starting free safety. Did not get a starting lineup from head coach Craig Hunter of the Cougars. We do know that their starting quarterback is Corbin Pearson, and we're looking forward to seeing him here tonight. I know, talking to the Martinsburg defense and coaching staff as a whole, that he is a key weapon that they definitely are aware of going into this matchup.
Yeah, he throws it well. He throws a very good ball, as we say. He's one of those type guys that if he's on, he can be really, really effective. But one of the things that he hasn't faced this year has been the pressure that he's going to get tonight from this Martinsburg crew. Look for Martinsburg. You're going to see some blitzing. You're going to see some early blitzing, I think, out of this defense, and just try to get him rattled a little bit.
Vic, what is scary, as you say, he hasn't faced pressure like he might see tonight. He's already been sacked 15 times this season. That may not bode well because of that rush you'll see this evening.
Exactly, and one of the things also, the fact that you haven't seen a secondary like you're going to see tonight who can really defend people. So that means you guys are not going to be open as quickly and also as often as he's seen so far this year.
Starting lineups, a service of D&N Auto Specialist, where honesty is their best policy. They specialize in exhaust, alignments, and tires. Call D&N Auto Specialist at 304-267-4078. Well, the band on the field waiting to erupt in song, I imagine, as the Jefferson Cougars look to take the field. Martinsburg already on that far sideline. The captains have already met at midfield. We'll tell you all about what happened there and who's going to get the football. We'll have the opening kick as well when we return. One final 1-minute timeout, and then we're back for the play-by-play action of West Virginia high school football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
It's one of the toughest times you'll ever face when someone close to you passes away. It's a swirl of papers to sign and arrangements to be made, all while you're dealing with grief. At Brown Funeral Home, we encourage you to pre-plan. Pre-planning not only makes things easier for you, it protects you from rising costs. At Brown Funeral Home, our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson.
Well, back again at Jefferson High School, the Cougars and the Bulldogs getting ready to meet in what will be the 45th meeting in this series. Martinsburg leading the overall series, 31 wins and 13 losses. The Dogs have won 10 in a row and 18 of the last 20 in this series. Vic, you look at what the Dogs have been able to do against Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference opponents, and Martinsburg has won 67 in a row, and the shortest winning streak is the one against Jefferson, 10 straight. That's because the Cougars knocked off the Martinsburg Bulldogs back in 2007 by a final score of 29-6, the last time that Jefferson beat these Bulldogs. By the way, last time that the Cougars have celebrated a win over Martinsburg here at home, all the way back to 1998.
It was strange. I was at both of those games. I remember those games. They were good ball games. Jefferson was really, really strong at that time. And, of course, there was no Washington at that time as well, so that did make it a little bit of a difference.
Well, here comes the Jefferson Cougar football team as they break through the sign down in the end zone to our right and now work their way through the makeshift tunnel for the flag bearers in the back and the band here in the front. They'll get to the midfield stripe turn and make their way here to the near sideline. Jefferson will be decked out in the maroon uniform, pants and jersey tops with the gold lettering and white trim, the maroon football helmet. Meanwhile, Martinsburg on the far sideline wearing the black football pants with white jersey tops, black lettering and orange trim, and the Bulldogs with that black football helmet, the white state of West Virginia, and the orange M in the middle of the state. Well, as the captains met earlier, it was Martinsburg winning that coin toss, and they elect to take the football. A lot of times we see Coach Walker want the defense to set the tone. In this one tonight, as the Bulldogs look to set a new state record with their 37th consecutive victory, it's the offense that he wants to set that tone.
He's saying we're coming right at you. Basically, that's the bottom line there. He's not going to play any games, whatever. Give me the ball, and here we come. So you're going to have to stop us. So it's going to be that type of ball game. I think it's going to be Martinsburg's going to shove it right in their face and say you're going to have to do something about it because we're going for this win.
The opening kick being brought to you by Brett Rogers, House of Delegates candidate, 63rd District, a fiscally conservative, open-minded, and energetic voice for our community. Well, Martinsburg will head out onto the field. Looks like they will return this kick from left to right. Jefferson looking like they'll head out onto the field to kick off from right to left. Jefferson right now with their first win at number 22 in the state when it comes to AAA rankings. Martinsburg number 1 this week, according to the VSSAC. Those are the power ratings, all based on points for wins and bonus points for opponents' wins that you have beaten. Spring Valley is at number 2. Musselman comes in at 3. Then it's Capital and Huntington rounding out the top 5. Ripley, Parkersburg South, Wheeling Park, John Marshall, and Parkersburg in the top 10. Hedgesville at number 11, and Spring Mills right now at number 16 going into play tonight. We'll keep an eye on those other games going on around the area. Matt Crawford will keep us up to date on scores, and he'll have all of the latest during our halftime scoreboard show and as well our postgame scoreboard show. Heading out to take the football from our head referee, Aaron Gravel, a 5'10 senior running back. He's going to put the football on the tee right in the middle of the field at the 40-yard line to our right. He will mark off his steps and get ready to kick. We'll see if he kicks deep, as along the hash mark to the near side, Gerard Bowie for Martinsburg. Along the far side, hash mark is Matt Van Duzer. There is the kick. It is away, an end-over-end kick. Van Duzer comes up, takes it at the 10-yard line, fakes the reverse and comes near side to the 15 to the 20 and the 25. Hit at the 27-yard line and taken down right at the 30. And that's the kicker himself, Aaron Gravel, making the big hits.
Big hit, a big start for Jefferson. Maybe that'll, which inspired the crowd here on our side just a little bit. So let's see what happens. Again, as I said before, I think Martinsburg wants to come out and establish their offense and their dominance right away.
The Bulldogs with the ball on the near side hash mark, moving from left to right, will go with 2 receivers to each side of the formation. Grant Harmon, the starting quarterback, will line up in the shotgun. Harmon completing 73% of his passes this season. 46 of 63 is thrown for 804 yards, 14 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. Joining him in the backfield will be Naeem Kearney. Dogs taking a lot of time getting the play in, and the play clock is down to 2, down to 1, and they do not get the snap off. There is a whistle and the play blown dead just as the Bulldogs were snapping it, and it is a delay of game on the very opening play.
That's kind of one of the things you don't want to have happen, to slow you down before you actually get started. But, you know, that was these officials, you have to be attuned to what's going on because they spot the ball very, very quickly.
So they move it back to the 25-yard line, where it now becomes a 1st and 15. The Bulldogs get the play call from the sideline, looking at wristbands, and now we're ready to go. There is the snap, and it's the quarterback keeper, and off that left side, Grant Harmon is to the 30, around a block to the far side, 35 and 40, and eventually forced out of bounds just beyond the 40. They'll mark him at the 43-yard line.
That would spread them out and take off and run with it. Basically, that's the bottom line on that play, is no look for a pass. So Harmon just takes the football and just weeds his way down the field, trying to find that opening wherever it's going to be.
Got some good downfield blocking from the wide receivers on that side.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about that. It's not an assigned spot, so that's very seldom do you get holding calls or things like that, because you just block him wherever he'll go and he runs off the block.
18 yards on the gain, and it's 1st and 10. Pass near side on a wide receiver screen, caught by Boite. He'll work his way into Jefferson territory, taken down from behind at the 45 of the Cougars. Nick Longerbeam, middle linebacker, on the stop.
Gerard Bowie on a good block on the outside there. It's hard. I mean, if you've never played football before, it's hard making that block out there one-on-one, and the officials and everybody can see you, and you have to make that block without holding that. You see that in the NFL quite often, a lot of holding calls.
12 yards on that gain, and again a 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs, and movement along that defensive front line before Martinsburg could snap it, as the defensive end off this left side got into the neutral zone, +5, as they move it down to the Cougar 40, and the Bulldogs will now face 1st and 5. So each team now with a 5-yard penalty in this opening possession. The Bulldogs overcame the first one. Now we'll see if they can take advantage of this one on the Cougars. Trip receivers to the wide side left. Single receiver to the near side. That's Anthony Smith. There's the receiver screen to the far side, caught by Gerard Bowie, getting to that sideline. Makes a man miss to the 35, to the 30, down the far sideline to the 20, to the 10, and into the end zone. It'll be a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Bowie able to stay in bounds along that far side, eluding a couple of defenders and racing in from 40 yards out.
That's exactly what they wanted. Again, like I said, they wanted to get a quick start. They're going to be in your face right away and take all the idea of the upset tonight away from Jefferson.
Now that touchdown pass for Grant Harmon, his 15th on the season, and for Gerard Bowie, touchdown reception number 9. Chris Catlett to attempt the extra point. The Bulldogs line up in a formation that they did last week several times. 3 guys along the numbers on each side, with only 3 guys, one right over top of the football, and then a couple of guards, and then they bring everybody together, snap it back. Sherman gets the hold down, and Catlett gets the kick through, and for Chris Catlett, he's now 38 of 40 in PATs on the season. 10:55 remaining in quarter number 1. We'll take a break with Martinsburg in front, 7-0.
I like Mike because he's not afraid to speak his mind, even if it means being politically incorrect.
I like Mike because he fights for people like me, the little guy that always gets forgotten about.
I like Mike because I value his opinions and his efforts in improving education in West Virginia for all students and school employees.
I like Mike because he votes right.
Because he's the type of leader we need in Charleston.
Accountable, ethical, responsible. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
Well, John Gidney on the return of the kick from Catlett as action quickly gets back underway. And Gidney with that short return will get out to about the 24-yard line. Jefferson will have it there. Scoring drive summary brought to you by 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. 3 plays, 70 yards, a minute and 2 seconds. A 40-yard scoring strike going from Harmon to Bowie. And the Dogs are out in front. 10:49 now left in our opening quarter. 1st and 10 from their own 24. Pearson out of the gun as a back to his right side. Barks out the signals. Tried to get Martinsburg to jump. There was movement along that front line with a couple of linebackers looking to blitz, but they stayed out of the neutral zone. Now the snap back, Pearson's got it, hands it off, and the ball carrier hit immediately, driven backwards and never taken down on the play, but they do blow it dead. On that carry is Jacob Gamble, and Gamble is going to lose a yard.
R.J. Bear was in there first, disrupted play. He didn't make the tackle, but he held the ball carrier long enough to be able to allow his friends to come along and take him out. So again, like I said, defensively, they're going to come right at them. Defensively, they're going to see a lot of blitzing from linebackers. I think they're just going to keep a lot of pressure on them.
2nd down and 11 from their own 23 as Jefferson moves from right to left. Pearson out of the gun, claps the hands, takes that snap, looks far side, pass a little too high, intended for a slot receiver to his right. That was John Gidney, the 5'7" sophomore, but the pass too high. It'll bring up 3rd and 11. Let's check in with Jason on the sideline. He sent me a text to give me a little heads up following that touchdown for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, actually, when he was going down the sidelines here, when he made that cut at the 7-yard line, he actually put his foot right on the out-of-bounds line, but he was so fast down the field that nobody caught it.
Now Martinsburg may be catching a break as they get that first score. On 3rd and 11, Pearson back to throw. Flush from the pocket, moving forward. Nice move to get around Pearson, the linebacker, and he's going to pick up that first down outside the numbers on the far side, taken down at the 36-yard line.
Well, Pearson did a nice job that time of just seeing it. No one was open that time and kept the ball up in position to throw, so it kept the secondary from coming up. So he got enough to get the first down. So good offensive surge there for Pearson, the quarterback.
Yeah, he needed 11, picked up 13 on his first carry. Out of the gun with 2 receivers here to this wide side left. 2 receivers to the right as well, a back to his right side. Corbin Pearson taking that snap, handing it off, and no, he kept it. Faked that handoff, worked his way around the right end, and gets forced out of bounds after a couple of yard gain and maybe a late hit at the end of the play as a penalty marker is down.
I'll tell you, I'm on the other side of the field on that particular. We're 70 yards away from, 60 yards away from that. I don't see that being a penalty. Maybe it's a, let's see here. Personal foul, yes it is. Contact was made on the field. We saw that, and he slung him and threw him out of bounds.
Now let's check in again with Jason down on the sidelines and get his angle.
From my angle, it did actually look like a penalty there at the end. There was a little bit of a shove after he was out of bounds.
So that penalty will add to what was a 3-yard gain, and will move the football into Bulldog territory now at the Martinsburg 47, 1st down and 10. Pearson awaits that shotgun snap. He's got it, hands it off. Oh, wow, no place to go that time for Jacob Gamble as he was met right in the hole. And again, it's the linebacker, R.J. Barrett, filling that hole.
Wow. It's like he's running wild out there. Nobody's blocked him yet.
No gain. It will be 2nd and 10 from the 47 of Martinsburg. Pearson completing about 47% of his passes, 64 of 136 coming in, has thrown for 1,032 yards, but has also added 86 carries for 131 yards. He can be a running threat as well, which we've already seen converting on that 3rd and 11. Back to throw, lets it go near side, off the hands of the intended receiver, picked off at the 45-yard line and down the near sideline. There goes Trey Sign. He's going to race all the way into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That pass intended for John Gidney along the near side as he reached up and had a tick off of his fingertips. Sign was right there to pick it off and go 55 yards.
Well, that's about as simple as you can get it defensively. That was almost a gift. But there again, you know, being in the right place at the right time, and you can get those gifts every now and then. So big score for Martinsburg. 8 minutes, 44 seconds ago, 13-0, the extra point coming up.
Vic, what was one of the keys you talked about?
Turnovers.
That is a costly one. 15th turnover of the season for Jefferson. And they're now -5 in that category as they have forced only 10 turnovers out of their opposition. Extra point attempt coming for Catlett. It is up and it is through. And with 8:44 to play in quarter number 1, we take a break with Martinsburg now in front 14-0.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format. on campus or online that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learnatvalley.com.
Well, teeing it up at the 40 to our left, getting ready to approach is Chris Catlett, and the kick is away as it comes down along the near side again to Gidney. He's got it at about the 19, up across the 20 and 25, hit at the 29, works his way towards the middle of the field and will be taken down, it looks like just shy of the 30-yard line. Second return for John Gidney. Well, not a scoring drive summary, no drive. It was the INT return of 55 yards for a touchdown for Trey Sign that has Martinsburg out in front 14-0. Well, a promising drive there for Jefferson, so a little something maybe they can build off of in that opening possession despite the turnover.
Yeah, they got an aided with a 15-yard penalty. Looked like they had something going there, so let's see what happens the second drive.
From their own 28-yard line, Jefferson football. Pearson out of the gun with a back to his right. Awaits that shotgun snap. He's got it. A keeper off that right side, grabbed by the nose guard, who quickly will bring him down. That is Ty Lucas in on that stop. Pearson did get back to the line of scrimmage, his own 28, and it will bring up a second down and 10.
Well, I watched Lucas off the ball that time, and for some reason I just zeroed in on him. He just wasn't blocked. I mean, they're missing some blocking assignments because these backs are getting hit too quickly, all too quickly.
Now the Bulldogs not giving up many rushing yards this season and being stingy in the early going of this one. Pearson again awaits that snap. He's got it on the play action. Rolls far side. Looks to pass. Has an open man. He'll make that grab and get out to about the 34-yard line. On that catch was Nathan Mull. 6'3" sophomore. He is a tight end. Good size. 6'3", 230. Nice pass play to get it to the tight end for a pickup of just about 5 yards.
And that should be what they're looking for the rest of the night. Get it out quick, get it to your backs, get it to the tight end, short, quick, so you get away from some of that pressure Martinsburg's bringing.
Call it 3rd and 4 with the ball at the 34 of Jefferson. They converted on a 3rd and 11 in their opening possession. Pearson wants to throw, now being flushed, and will throw it away along that far side. Down around the midfield stripe. He did have a receiver, but that pass was well out of bounds and not catchable. Not that that is a rule in high school football. Antoine Lewis, the closest receiver there.
Yeah, he just didn't have anyone open on that play. But the right idea, he did pump fake. He was trying to go to his receiver on that side. Wasn't open.
So the punting unit will come on for the first time this evening.
7:06 here in the first quarter, 14-0. Martinsburg leads it, and that's one thing that you didn't want if you're Jefferson, 3 plays and out.
The punter is Brian Long, gets it out of there. Very nice kick that's going to go over the head of Matt Van Duzer, bounce inside the 20, and then take a huge Jefferson roll, angling out of bounds inside the 15, and it looks like they're going to mark it at about the 13-yard line. Beautiful punt that covers 53 yards.
That's been their best offense thus far. It's been that punt right there.
So 7:06 to play in quarter number 1. Martinsburg with a 14-0 lead, taking over for their second offensive possession. They've scored once as an offense and have scored as a defense.
Martinsburg's had some problems with the punt return. We'll talk about that in a second.
From their own 13 on first down, Elijah Banks out there now at quarterback. Has 2 receivers to each side of the formation. He's got the football, slings it out near side. Gerard Bowie, the slot receiver, making the first man miss as he went back to his left into the middle of the field. Bowie got hit at the 15. Football came free. There's a mad scramble for it, and now we wait and see who's got the football. The Jefferson players signaling that they have it. Gidney looks to be the one on top of it, as he is holding on to the football with a Bulldog player trying to hold on to him as well. And let's see who it's going to be. It'll be Longer Beam and Gidney, both who were right there. They may give credit on that fumble recovery to Longer Beam.
Well, that's a kind of a break that you want if you're Jefferson here with 6:56 to go here in the first quarter, down 14-0. They got a big break here on the fumble recovery. So let's see if they can do something with it. They're obviously in 4-down territory.
Well, the Bulldogs with their first turnover. And now from right around the 18 of Martinsburg, 1st and 10 coming for Jefferson. Pearson wants to throw, lofts it into that deep back far corner of the end zone and throws it out of the back of the end zone. Once again looking for John Gidney, who was covered along that far side by Anthony Smith, the Bulldog defensive back and/or outside linebacker.
Didn't have a chance on that one. He threw it away, and the right thing to do. Should have thrown it a little further, because there's no way he could get the receiver, but you got to throw it out of the end zone because you don't want the other team to have a chance at it either.
2nd down and 10 from that Martinsburg 17. Back now to each side of the quarterback as Corbin Pearson awaits the snap. 6'2", 200 pounds. Pearson just a junior. Awaiting that snap, he's got it, hands it off. Gamble coming near side, getting to the 15, and then runs into a man at the 10. He lost the football right at the end of the play, but there to dive on that loose football was Aaron Gravel. Looks like they're going to mark it at about the 12-yard line. That'll be a hard 5-yard gain, and will set up a 3rd and 5.
Ty Lucas going out of the ball game, noticeably limping to the sideline for Martinsburg.
That carry for Jacob Gamble, 5'11" senior. Brings up now a 3rd down and 5. They will hand it off, and this time looking for running room to his right. Aaron Gravel gets wrapped up and taken down as a flag comes in on the play.
That's coming back. That's going to be a holding against Jefferson.
A.J. Brenniger, one of those to very quickly wrap him up and bring him down. Got a little help in there as well, and the holding penalty will back him up.
I won't call his number out, but that was obvious holding on that play.
So the result of the play will be the hold, which will make it now a 3rd down and about 15 as they're going to move it back actually out closer to the 25-yard line. So that occurred a couple of yards deep in the backfield. 2nd penalty whistled against Jefferson, and this one is costly.
Well, this time you got to, if you're Jefferson, you got to try to get a piece of this yardage that you need. You're not going to try to be able to pick it all up at one play.
Pearson wants to throw deep along the near side into the back of the end zone and out of the back of the end zone. Good coverage. Matt Van Duzer tightly guarding the intended target, Antoine Lewis, and then some help defense coming over the top as well. Looks like Smith, who was the other to get there, as he tracks the football down along the track.
And that's the thing about this Martinsburg secondary, and that back half of the 7 guys back there. Tell you, they can cover. They cover very, very well, and especially it's tough to hit receivers deep when the guys back there are faster and quicker than you are.
So from just inside the Bulldog 25, it will be a field goal attempt that will be coming. This will be a 41-yard attempt. Snap back, placement, and the kick, and it is blocked. The kick is blocked, and the football will be picked up by Aaron Pearson. Pearson along that far side, picked it up inside the 15, worked to that far sideline, and gets taken down near the 20-yard line. In to attempt the field goal, Aaron Gravel, the senior, who also handled the kickoff duties. Jefferson this season 2 of 4 in field goal attempts, now make it 2 of 5 as the 41-yard field goal was blocked.
Well, it's the right idea. That's me. I'm going for the field goal as well. Good attempt there, good situation. But the bad part about it is the further out you go with field goals, obviously the trajectory of the ball has to be lower because of the distance. And Martinsburg is right in on the block.
So Bulldog football as they'll take over on the 20-yard line. Still leading 14-0, 5:46 to play opening quarter. Handoff going to Naeem Kearney. Met right at the line of scrimmage and taken down for no gain on the play. A whole host of tacklers there helping to lead the way. Javon Lang and also Aaron Gravel.
And Jacob Simpson in there. So good defensive stance by Jefferson. 14-0 is our score. 5 minutes, 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. It'll
bring up a 2nd down and 10. First carry for Naeem Kearney. He has not been shut down much this season. 70 carries, 806 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Quickly, the pass comes near side, intended for the slot receiver Gerard Bowie, but well in behind him. Timing just not there for Elijah Banks, the quarterback. It's incomplete.
I don't know if that ball was tipped or anything. It looked kind of weird when it came out, and it's had a weird spin on it. But I'll tell you what, if he gets that ball to him, he's going to go for 80 yards or whatever. So there was nobody there.
3rd down and 10 for the Bulldogs. First time they have faced a 3rd down tonight. As an offense, Martinsburg converting 56% of their 3rd downs. This Jefferson defense allowing opponents to convert about 30% of the time. There is the snap and the play action pass. Banks in trouble, will be grabbed, and down he goes. Sacked in the backfield for a loss on the play. Down around his ankles was Sean Coram, able to bring him down. They'll mark it right around the 10.
I'm not sure what the play was because Jefferson gave him so much pressure from the very beginning. I think it was going to look like some type of a screen of some sort to the Martinsburg side, the far side away from us. And it just seemed like it just collapsed very, very quickly. So good job by Jefferson defensively. 4:33 to go, first quarter. Still 14-0 Martinsburg on their first punt.
Trey Sign, who averages just under 40 yards a punt, will punt from his own end zone as the line of scrimmage is the 9-yard line. Back deep, ready to return this kick is Trent Shelton. There is the snap, and the kick is away. Floating kick that's going to bounce inside the 40 and then take a Martinsburg roll outside the 45 and will be touched dead at what we'll call the 46-yard line. And the punt covers 37 yards with no return and with 4:05 to play in quarter number 1. Jefferson takes over, trailing 14-0.
Boy, that looked like either a fumbled ball for a touchdown or safety or something coming up. Great job offensively, to really steer that ball, that snap ball over the head, and then get the kickoff. I'm sure Jefferson wished he had the punt block on that play.
Corbin Pearson in the shotgun has Gamble to his right side. 2 receivers each way as he looks to the near sideline. Getting that play call and now awaiting the snap. Martinsburg showing blitz. Let's see if they come. Man in motion comes near side. There is the snap. It is a keeper for the quarterback, and Pearson up the middle, grabbed around the ankles and taken down after a very short gain. That is Barrett as the linebacker filling that hole and able to grab him and eventually drag him down. They'll mark it outside, or I should say inside the 45 to the 43, a pickup of 3.
Well, Jefferson trying to spread them out, and 3 receivers one side, 1 on the other side, or whatever, as much as they possibly can, and try to establish some type of run game.
On 2nd and 7, again, they'll bring a man in motion near side. That's Shelton. There is the snap. Pearson has plenty of time. Looking near side now, flushed, rolling to that far side. Still looking downfield, and will get tripped up from behind by Anthony Smith as the linebacker, able to dive in there, clip his heels, and eventually Pearson stumbling forward goes out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark it.
I think they're going to call it an incomplete
So
pass.
he did get rid of the football. From our angle, I couldn't tell it. Let's check in with Jason down on the sidelines, see what he could see, as apparently he did get rid of that football.
Yeah, he did. It looked like he did get rid of the football.
So it's an incomplete pass, and they'll set it down at the 43-yard line, where it brings up 3rd down and 7. 1 of 7 passing for 6 yards in the early going for Corbin Pearson. Out of the shotgun. The QB awaiting that snap. He's got it. Oh, here comes the pressure, and Trey Sign strips him of the football. Football is free, still free inside of the 40 and at the 36-yard line of Jefferson. It will be corralled by the Cougars running back, Jacob Gamble, and that will bring the punting unit on.
Huge loss on that play. Tough situation. We could see the blitz coming, but and it didn't get a chance to pick up either one of the linebackers who was blitzing. 2:28 to go here, still in the first quarter, 14-0. Game is kind of stalled just a little bit here on both sides of the ball for both teams.
That is minus 21 yards, and it does bring Brian Long back out there to punt. His first punt went for 53. He's got that snap. quickly punches it out of there. End-over-end kick on a bounce at about the Bulldog 42 and then take a Jefferson roll. This one will go down to the 30 and will roll dead at the 29-yard line. And the punt covers 35 yards with no return. And still 2:28 to play in our opening quarter. That was already the fourth possession for Jefferson, and Martinsburg gets ready for their fourth possession.
Well, so far it hasn't been anything picture perfect, nothing to write home about so far by either team, other than the Martinsburg first series. So let's see what they do here. I think we're probably going to see a few more handoffs, a few more runs, and make Jefferson establish their defensive position a little bit more.
Grant Harmon back out there at quarterback for the Dogs after a couple of possessions for Elijah Banks. Awaiting the snap, Harmon's got it. Controlled roll to that far side. Lets the pass go. Getting it to Matt Van Duzer, who made the catch. No, they rule him out of bounds along that far sideline. Would have been a gain for only about 2, maybe 3 yards anyway.
Wow.
That one seemed to float a little bit on Harmon, who's now 2 of 3 for 52 yards, including the 40-yard touchdown pass to Gerard Bowie in the opening possession.
Yeah, I think he just threw that one too late. I mean, sometimes, especially high school, guys tend to throw the football to a guy when he gets wide open. You got to throw when he's open, not when he's wide open. That time he just ran out of real estate.
So it brings up a 2nd down and a 10. From their own 29, Harmon has the snap. Throws far side, throws a little high, but pulling it down is Teddy Marshall. Marshall on the wide receiver screen, stays in bounds along that far side and now outraces everyone down the sideline. He's going to go all the way. He's to the 5 and into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That high pass looked to blow off any timing on that play, but as he pulled it down and got through the initial guys that were there being blocked by the Bulldog wide receivers, well, no one could catch him, and he takes it in from 71 yards away.
Well, you got to be better than that. You got to be tougher out there on the corner if you're Jefferson. You got to get off those blocks and you got to make something happen. You can't allow that guy to get a hit of steam after his 2 steps after he's caught the football, and that's what's happened on 2 touchdowns of the 3 that they had thus far. 2:05 to go, and the extra point. Martinsburg will kick it. They get in their muddle huddle. Now they bring everybody back in for conventional extra point.
And Chris Catlett has been outstanding with his PATs this season, kicking into the wind here. This one is up and it is through. 2:05 to play in our opening quarter. Let's take a break and then come back with Martinsburg in front, 21-0.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Now teeing the football up at the 40-yard line to our left, setting it along the near side hash mark is Chris Catlett. Ready for the kickoff after the Bulldog touchdown. We'll give you the drive summary in a moment. Here is the kick, and it's a bouncer down the middle of the field. Takes a high hop, fielded at the 40-yard line. That's Gamble, the running back, who was able to bull his way forward for about a 5-yard return. Taken down there by Nathan Schweinbraten. The scoring drive for Martinsburg, 2 plays, 71 yards, took just 23 seconds after an incomplete pass. It was a 71-yard touchdown pass going from Grant Harmon to Teddy Marshall. 16th TD pass for Harmon, 4th touchdown catch for Teddy Marshall this season. And the Dogs lead 21-0. Drive summary, a service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. Exactly 2 minutes left in our opening quarter. 1st and 10 Jefferson. From their own 45. Pearson sends a man in motion as he takes that snap, wants to keep it running right, and he is hit and taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Good penetration along that left side of the defense for, I believe that's Good. That's our 5-1 again. Terrell Good had been in 31. I believe that is Good now in 51, who was able to make that stop. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 from their own 45. Pearson has Gamble joining him in the backfield along with Gravel. 2 receivers out to the far side, a single receiver here to the near side. Wide side left. Power pistol as the handoff goes to Gamble. He's met right in the hole and gets taken down after a short gain. He was able to bounce off that initial hit from Aaron Pearson, but then Pearson got some help, and the tackle comes at the 46. What should have been a 1-yard loss is a 1-yard gain, and it's 3rd and 9.
One good thing about Jefferson, they are trying to mix it up a little bit. They were seeing some different things offensively, trying to make some things happen. Right now, Martinsburg's just beating them to the punch. 3rd down and 9.
Right now, 1 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. Needing to keep this drive going. We're down to 45 seconds and counting on that first quarter clock. On 3rd down and 9, trip receivers to the left, single receiver right, back to the left of the quarterback. Play clock down to a second left. There is the snap. Pearson to throw. There's that deep slant, if you will, at the 40-yard line, and beyond the reach of the intended target is Antoine Lewis, the 6'1 junior wideout, went to the ground trying to sprawl out and make the catch, but could not get his hands on it.
Yeah, just not a good throw that time. He's in the right position, right where he needs to be on the quick slant there, right across the middle. Got to get that ball up there around chest high and give him a chance to make that catch, because that's a first down if he makes that catch.
So Long is on again to punt it away. Perhaps a battle of field position this time for Jefferson as they'll try to pin Martinsburg as deep as they can with the line of scrimmage their own 46. And the punt coming from right around the 35. Long's not very deep as he receives that snap and then just tries to punch it out of there. Bounces at the 30 and taken at the 20-yard line by Gerard Bowie. Bowie heading far side of the 25 and the 30. Slips the tackle. He's out to the 40. Slips through a hole and across midfield. Cutting back to the middle of the field. He's down to the 30. The 25-yard line makes a man miss there. Cutting back to his left. Gets inside the 20 and the 15 and down to the 10. Eventually taken down at the 9-yard line.
Wow, he didn't get touched until he got down to about the 10-yard line and brought down at the 9. I'll tell you, again, these guys are very, very dangerous. They have a lot of guys who are very dangerous once they touch the football. And it wasn't like it was great blocking. The fact that the coverage is not real good. They're not covering the field very. There are a lot of gaps between one guy and the next guy. You know, you come down in the kick return in a wave, almost across the line when you step around blocks, which that happens quite a bit. You cannot step around blocks. You got to go through blocks.
Grant Harmon taking the snap on 1st and 10, hands it off on a jet sweep to Matt Van Duzer. Van Duzer coming near side, breaks a couple of tackles at the 5-yard line, stays on his feet down to the goal line. Let's wait and see. Looks like they're going to mark him down at the 1. Looked like a face mask on
yes,
that spin move when he first got hit. No penalty marker is down, and on that first down play from the 9, it'll be a pickup of 8, and Martinsburg will face a 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. When we come back, the clock has hit zeros and quarter number 1 is in the books. We're back with our second quarter of action after this timeout. It is Martinsburg 21 and Jefferson nothing.
If you're not progressing in healthcare, you're falling behind.
W Medicine has planted itself here, and they're the first university that I've found who wants to take ownership of this population of Western Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and the good people of West Virginia. And it's really refreshing to see.
I was able to do things that the patients were going away for, which is good for the patients, and it's good for us because we have more resources. Certainly has helped take us to another level.
Well, here we go to quarter number 2 along with Vic Holmes. I'm Matt Miller, Jason Colrick on the sideline, Matt Crawford, our studio engineer, Chip Rittenhouse, our TV10 cameraman. How about these numbers from the opening quarter? 19 plays, 9 yards of offense for Jefferson. 10 plays, 143 yards of offense for Martinsburg. Bulldog football as we get this second quarter started. We'll check in with Jason momentarily. The Dogs facing a 2nd and goal. Ball's at the 1-yard line. They now move from right to left, and they'll bring in the extra fullbacks as they go heavy to the left. They like to call it a heavy formation. Deep man will be Naeem Kearney up under center. That is Grant Harmon. He will turn, hand it off. Kearney off that left side of the line, follows those blocks into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Naeem Kearney with his 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
Well, that was easy. Went off the left side there, standing up. So good job by the offensive line of Martinsburg.
Not a bad first half for Naeem Kearney. 2 carries, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. He got stuffed for no gain on his very first carry of the night. This one, he gains the only yard he needed to get. Extra point attempt again coming for Chris Catlett.
Trenton Sherman, I want to go back to the first extra point. He did a great job on the first extra point on a catch and getting that ball posted. Never got a chance to say it, but I want to say it now before this one comes up.
Well, there is the snap back. Yeah, he's got it and does get it down again.
Yeah, that's another tough one.
He's got sweet hands.
Yes, he does.
That is the reason they have him right there. 11:55 to play in the first half. It is now a 28-0 lead for Martinsburg. Drive summary. Well, it goes 2 plays, covers 9 yards after the 71-yard punt return for Gerard Bowie, and it took all of 19 seconds. The extra point up and good, and Martinsburg has the 28-0 lead. Drive summary brought to you by 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. Let's check in with Jason on the sideline. Reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible.
You know, you gave the stats there for yardage for Martinsburg during the first half, but most of those yardage came on just 2 plays. Jefferson actually did a pretty decent job of handling Martinsburg there, even though the score doesn't reflect it.
And that's really the way this whole season has gone, right? I mean, this is a talented team that you look at, and Martinsburg's coaching staff even said, hey, look, this is not a 1-6 football team, and yet that's the record.
We talked about those things. One of the things, the big plays. Don't give up the big plays.
Low line drive kick taken along the far side by John Gidney. He had dropped it, picked it up, almost dropped it again, and by the time he can really corral that football and start up the field, he's going to only get to the 15-yard line, and that is where Jefferson will have it deep in their own territory with 11:46 to play in the first half and now down by 4 scores.
Yeah, we talked about keys of the game, and the number 2 key to the game was eliminate the big plays, and they have not been able to do it. Martinsburg has stung them pretty good with the big plays.
Well, the other was turnovers, and one of those touchdowns on the board on a 55-yard interception return by Trey Sines. So 2 of those keys have not gone the way of Jefferson so far in this one. On first down as the Cougars now move from left to right. Pearson out of the gun, has that shotgun snap. He wants to run, bounces here towards the near side. Little stutter step move, stripped to the football. It's free at the 10-yard line, but it looks like the Cougars were able to recover.
Yeah, I think he actually hit it again, and he rolled actually on top of the football, but it was definitely out on the ground.
So Pearson able to recover his own fumble. It's back at the 10-yard line. That will be a loss of 5. Great job by a Bulldog defender getting a hand in there and knocking that football free. And now from their own 10, it will bring up a 2nd down and 15. 2 receivers and make it 3 to the wide side left, a single receiver to the right. Looks like Gamble has the back to the left of the quarterback. There is the snap. Pearson wants to throw. Now flush from the pocket, rolling near side. Going to throw it deep along this near side and into the Jefferson bench. It's incomplete. Gidney coming across the field towards it. And along with Keon Bean Smith coming down the field towards it. It goes over both of their heads and out of bounds.
Again, we've talked about the ability of the Martinsburg secondary people to defend. And this is all they've done all year long. Basically, man-to-man coverage about all year long. So they do a very, very good job. They've got great speed, great instincts back there. So it makes it difficult to throw against this team.
Brings up 3rd down and 15 from their own 10-yard line. Jefferson football trailing 28-0, 11:29 on a stopped clock after the incompletion. They are 1 of 5 on third down conversions. Again, trip receivers out to that wide side left. Pearson will have Gamble to his left side as a tailback. The shotgun snap goes back. And the throw to that far side, and the catch made. Is he able to hang on to it? Wow, that's a great catch by the slot receiver, as it looked like the ball was slipping free out of the hands of John Gidney just as he got hit and taken down. He does hold on, but the gain will be minimal. Looks like they'll spot it back out to the 14 for a 4-yard pickup, and the punting unit is on.
Yeah, that was a good catch. Not much out of it after the catch, but it was a great catch. So Jefferson put themselves in another bad situation here with another punting situation coming up. 10:55 to go. 28-0, Martinsburg on top. Jefferson now beckoning for another player. They only have 10.
Well, they're still trying to send a player, it looks like, off the field. So maybe they do have 11 out there all bunched up tight. The snap back to Long. He gets away a high end-over-end type of kick. It's going to bounce at the 35, still in Jefferson territory, and then be touched dead. Longer Beam is the one to have it in his hands, and it looks like he first touched it at about the 37. So the punt only going to cover about 23 yards without a return. And with 10:27 to play in our first half, Martinsburg with outstanding field position. Tough on that Jefferson defense when all you have to defend is 37 yards. On first down, Elijah Banks out there at quarterback for the Bulldogs. They'll line up 2 receivers each way. Naeem Kearney will be the tailback. Ball along the far side, hash mark. Banks awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it. Short drop. Flings it out near side. Grab made on the wide receiver screen by Teddy Marshall. Marshall able to escape the first tackle and then break out of the bunch and down the near sideline, east of the 10 to the 5 and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Again, looked like he would be tackled very quickly. However, he escapes and goes down the sideline, but hang on.
We have a holding against Martinsburg.
The penalty marker was being hidden by one of the players on the sideline. I couldn't see it as he came down at the 35-yard line. It will not be a touchdown, but rather a holding call, and that will come virtually right at the line of scrimmage. So -10 as the hold wipes out the touchdown, and for Martinsburg, penalized now 3 times for 30 yards in this first half.
That's a good call by the official right in front of us. I saw that one.
Move it back to the 47, where it now becomes a first down and 20. Again, though, a tackling issue there for Jefferson, as it looked like they had Teddy Marshall all bottled up. See what the Bulldogs do. With Boite here to the near side and 3 receivers to the far side. There is the snap and the handoff. Naeem Kearney coming left, met right in the hole and taken down after a short gain. Good job by the linebacker. That's 5'7". Sean Corum, a junior, 5'11", 235. Able to make that tackle after a pickup of about 3.
I like the call, though. I really like the call. You got them all spread out there. You got a first down in about 15, and all of a sudden you hand the ball off. Just a good tackle there defensively.
2nd and 17 as Banks again takes that shotgun snap. He's throwing deep along the far side, hash mark towards the goal line and overshoots the intended target, Matt Van Duzer, who he was looking for. With him stride for stride was Antoine Lewis, the junior defensive back.
Just a little bit long on that throw. Banks has a strong arm. I tell you, he can throw the ball. He can throw it, 50 yards easily without pushing it. As a matter of fact, that was about 45 right there.
Yep, nice throw, though. Got a little air under it. It was a chance for his receiver to get it. Otherwise, it was going to be incomplete. And now the Dogs live to see another play as they face 3rd and 17 from the 44 of Jefferson. Martinsburg's 0 of 1 on third downs in this first half. Here comes the blitz. The Dogs set up the screen. Naeem Kearney's got it on this left side, and there's a penalty marker down at the 40-yard line as he stayed inbounds, worked to the 35, and let's see where they'll spot the football at about the, it looks like 30, but no, it doesn't matter. They're bringing it right back immediately. Looks like the hold will occur at that 40-yard line. Michael Boite pleading his case with the official.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him on that one. I do not blame him.
That's going to occur about 4 yards into the play, and then they will mark the penalty off from there.
You know, the bad part about the situation like that, if you're Jefferson, you know, normally you'd go ahead and decline it and force the team to punt. But with this Martinsburg group, you know, yeah, I think you're going to have to take the penalty, and play against the distance. Now Martinsburg's going to call timeout.
All right, let's take a 30-second break, and then we will come back to Shenandoah Junction, where with 9:31 to play in our first half, Martinsburg leads Jefferson 28-0. Medicine, Berkeley, and Jefferson Medical Centers, Bechtel Jewelers, Berkeley County Health Department, the Mirius Group, Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and Valley College. Thanks as well to our special feature sponsors for all of their supports of our coverage of high school football featuring the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Out of the timeout, the Dogs will face a 3rd and 23 from the midfield stripe. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Banks has the snap, wants to throw, pocket collapsing, and he's grabbed and taken down. That could be a horse collar tackle, and now we do get the penalty markers down. The sack would be for a loss of 5, but it's going to end up being a costly loss as the penalty will go on, I believe, Lang, 52, who reached up and got him by the back of the jersey and shoulder pads.
You know, the sad part about that, it's an automatic first down.
Yeah, the Jefferson faithful not liking it, but that is the appropriate call, as it was a sack for a loss of 5. But then the penalty gets marked off. So plus 15, and for the Jefferson Cougars, that is now going to be 3 penalties for 35 yards called on them in this first half. And not the automatic first down, as they're going to move it down to that 40-yard line. But it will make it now a more manageable 3rd down and about 13.
So you're looking at 2 downs now to pick up 13 yards.
Second time they've gotten to Banks to sack him tonight. So 3rd down and 13, and Martinsburg will again burn a timeout. Let's do it again. Let's take another 30-second break and then return. Martinsburg leading here at Jefferson with 8:59 to play in the first half. It's 28-0.
We all know what a good time looks like, but what is it made of? We can think of a few things. In this case, it's handcrafted food to gather around, an ever-changing variety of wine, and a Friday night. Do yourself a favor. Experience the good in a good time.
Well, the West Virginia Mountaineers on a bye this Saturday, but that doesn't mean we don't have college football coming your way with an 11:30 pregame tomorrow. It'll be Oklahoma and TCU in a Big 12 matchup, and then around 4 o'clock we'll join in progress Alabama at Tennessee. College football on Talk Radio WRNR. From the 40 of Jefferson, a 3rd and 13 for Martinsburg out of a timeout. 2 receivers each way. Quick pass near side. Caught by Matt Van Duzer. Van Duzer able to drag a tackler ahead, make a couple of guys miss, get down inside the 30. They'll mark his progress at about the 28-yard line. He's going to pick up 12 yards, and it'll be a 4th and 1.
Wow. Tell you, he probably should have been stopped about 5 or 6 yards prior to going down, but a good job of just fighting and scrapping out there. Now, obviously, a very makeable 4th down situation. Let's see what happens here. As Banks does not go under center, he will be in the shotgun formation.
So they mark it
and
down.
And they just got the first down because Jefferson jumped off sides.
At the 29, so he picked up 11. It would be a 4th down and 2, but, well, Jefferson's defensive penalty will give Martinsburg the first down. Oh, boy, that hurts. 4 penalties now, 40 yards called on Jefferson. This +5 for the offside. So now with the football at the 24, Banks on the play action pass, fires quickly near side, in and out of the hands of Michael Boite. Outside receiver ran a slant. The inside receiver, slot receiver, simply went right down that hash mark. They were trying to get it to Boite, then cutting in behind the slot receiver, but the pass off his fingertips, incomplete.
Really tough throw that time for him to handle.
7th play of the possession coming. As the clock down to 8:23 to play in our first half. 28-0. Martinsburg in front, looking for a state record 37th straight win. There is the snap and the give. Naeem Kearney started right, comes back left, outside the numbers, to the sideline, at the 10, to the 5, and taken down before getting into the end zone. Touchdown, saving tackle for Corbin Pearson. Kearney able to weave his way through some traffic. He is very nimble of foot, and it looks like they're going to say he stepped out of bounds at the 4-yard line just as Pearson was reaching up to grab him. So a gain of 20 yards.
Yeah, it's a good run that time, and just a good job of the offensive line firing off the football.
1st and goal from the 4. Naeem Kearney to the left of Elijah Banks, the quarterback, about a yard behind him as well. 3 receivers out to that wide side of the field as Kearney shifts to the right side of the quarterback. There is the snap and the give. Kearney running left over top of guard and tackle. We'll get down to about the 2-yard line, it looks like, before being driven backwards and taken down. Coming off the bottom of the pile, that's Jacob Simpson. Called the senior's name a couple of times tonight, having a good game. Well, they set it only at the 3, so call that a 1-yard gain. 2nd and goal coming. 9th play of this Bulldog possession that started with 10:27 to play in the half. Give again to Naeem Kearney. Kearney again moving forward, hit and taken down. Penalty marker on the play as well. Longer beam had him up high, down low. Looked to be Brandon Hudson. Now we'll wait and see what the penalty will be.
It's going to be a face mask against Jefferson. It's going to be half the distance, and of course Martinsburg will get the down over again. So it'll be probably about the 1.5-yard line, I presume, or the 1.
I was going to say he was down to about the 2, and now you add another yard, and it will move the football down to about the 1. So 2nd down, goal to go, ball at the 1-yard line. 10th play of the possession coming. And now in the backfield, it's Asa Creamer Gaskins who will serve as the tailback. He'll be a lead blocker as Banks takes it off the right side. Penalty markers all over the place.
Wow.
Everybody must have seen the same thing, as there are, 5 yellow hankies in the middle of the field. And now we'll see what the call will be. I'm going to imagine that's a hold.
Well, I thought one looked like I thought I saw another face mask in there or whatever. We got a holding. Personal foul, face mask. Yes, we did.
So they offset.
Offset, yes.
So holding Martinsburg, a personal foul, face mask Jefferson, and we will line it up and do it all over again. Bulldogs looking to make some personnel moves, including Grant Harmon back in there at quarterback. Naeem Kearney coming back out. R.J. Barrett will be a lead blocker along with Asa Creamer Gaskins as Martinsburg goes with that heavy formation to the left. Harmon out from under center, hands it off that left side. Naeem Kearney gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown, his 2nd TD run of the first half.
Well, that was a tough one. That was a tough 6 points.
Yeah.
That was hard on both teams. A lot of penalties. These kind of things do happen. The game gets slowed down, it gets bogged down. I think this is the first time we've had one this year that's got bogged down that long in one series.
Yeah, 5 penalties on what turns out to be a 10-play scoring drive. Chris Catlett on to attempt the extra point. Snap is back, placement is down, kick is on the way, and it is good. So with 6:48 to play in our first half, we take a break with Martinsburg now out in front, 35-0.
I'm John Doyle. I'm running for the House of Delegates in the 67th District. The Rockwell Insulation Plant is being given $6 million in property tax breaks to bring 150 jobs to Jefferson County. If 150 different small businesses in Jefferson County each created one new job, they would get $0 in tax breaks. That makes no sense. I'm running for the House of Delegates to bring some common sense to economic development in West Virginia.
We'll give you that scoring drive summary in a moment. We'll also try to check in with Jason down on the sideline, but first Catlett approaches, and it's an end-over-end kick right down the middle of the field, taken at about the 7-yard line. Return man races up the middle of the field, now cuts to his left, gets to the far side, hash march, and just beyond the 20. Taken down, they'll mark him at about the 23. Antoine Lewis, 6'1" junior wideout on the return. Drive summary for the Bulldogs, the service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. How about 10 plays, 37 yards in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. 1 yard touchdown plunge for Naeem Kearney. Second of the game, 14th of the season. And the Bulldogs are out in front by a 35-0 score. 6:40 to play in the first half. Jefferson with their 7th offensive possession of this first half. They'll start at their own 22, and we'll check in with Jason after the first play. 2 receivers each way. Corbin Pearson out of the gun. Back to his right side. He's got that snap. Gives the handoff. Gamble slips through a hole, runs into the back of a lineman, cutting to his left, then gets grabbed and taken down, and virtually no gain on the play. Looks like Bednarski out there helping to make that tackle. Sideline Reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible. Jason.
You talked about earlier the pass that was thrown by Martinsburg that was overthrown. The wind out here is really playing an effect. And the Cougars right now, if they have to punt, that's what you're seeing the difference in now is the wind is really taking effect down here tonight.
Yeah, and they're going right into that wind that is blowing directly down the field. Pearson taking that shotgun snap, hands it off again. This time a little opening right at the line of scrimmage for Jacob Gamble as the 5'11 senior finds a hole off that left side of the line. He's out beyond the 25. Looks like they'll mark it at the 26, and that's a pickup of 4. Brings up 3rd down and 6. We've got Gamble at 6 carries now for 9 yards as Martinsburg has been very stingy again against the run. Just 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversion attempts. Jefferson faces 3rd and 6 here. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, back to the right of the quarterback. Pearson wants to throw, pocket quickly collapsing, and down he will go. Inside the 20 at about the 18-yard line. A whole host of Bulldogs are there, good, helping to lead the way. Bednarski in there as well, also Cullinay. As Martinsburg's basic entire defensive front ended up in the backfield, that's a loss of 8.
And outside linebacker Anthony Smith on the blitz that time was in on that stop. We're down to 4:50 to go here in the first half, 35-0 in Martinsburg, with an opportunity now for probably good field position again. Kicking into the wind is Jefferson.
With that snap coming from about the 18-yard line, snap back and a penalty marker down, and we'll have a penalty against Jefferson.
I think we're going to have a legal substitution.
Yeah, we've got way too many on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, 12 on the field. So that penalty is going to move it back. 6 penalties, now 46 yards, the unofficial total against Jefferson in this first half.
Well, those are the kind of penalties that you should not be having at this juncture of the season. A little late in the season, everybody should know who's in, and if somebody's out, who's the backup in each position.
So they move it down to the 13-yard line. making it a little tougher as Long tries to punt it into the wind. Just punches it out of there, racing up on it, taking it at the 35. Matt Van Duzer down the near side. He's to the 20, the 15, the 10, and steps out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. That one came off the side of the foot of the punter, a spiral into the wind, and Matt Van Duzer at full speed ran up there to make sure he caught it at the 35.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they have not done very well this year, and that is judging punters. You've got to be deeper than his maximum punt so you can field the ball if it hits the ground or it rolls or whatever, or come up and fair catch. And that time he did a great job. Caught it on the run, obviously with the wind holding the ball up there. So another big break for Martinsburg.
27 yards on that punt return. And with 4:24 to play in the first half, football at the 8-yard line. First and goal. Grant Harmon takes the snap, rolls to his right, sees an opening, cuts upfield, and sprints into the end zone for the touchdown. 8 yards on that TD run and went in untouched.
Now that was pretty easy. He simply rolled out. It's an option. Most of the time it's a pass run. With Grant Harmon, it's a run pass. And there's no one there, so he just simply walked into the end zone untouched.
6th rushing touchdown this season for Grant Harmon, who has now carried just twice in this first half, but for 26 yards. Catlett on for the extra points. It is up and it is through. And with 4 minutes and 17 seconds to play in the half, we take a 1-minute timeout with Martinsburg out in front now, 42-0.
Come to Berkeley County, West Virginia and enjoy the events, the history, outdoor adventures, farm-to-table dining. Just 90 minutes from Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Berkeley County, West Virginia provides small-town sensibility close to the big city. Visit travelwv.com to find out more about all that Berkeley County has to offer.
Well, the ensuing kickoff along the far side, taken by an up man who will step out of bounds along that far sideline. Looked like Brian Long, who was able to grab that one, goes out at about the 35-yard line. And that is where Jefferson will have it at their own 35. And now down by a 42-0 score. 4:15 to play here in our first half. That's been all Martinsburg as they have opened up that big lead. Vic, the average halftime score for the Bulldogs has been 39-6 this season. Tight slots to both sides as the snap goes back. Pearson hands it off. Little opening up the middle of the field. Good hard running as Gamble is able to drag Brenniger ahead for yards, and that's Aaron Gravel this time. Not Gamble, but Gravel, who was in the backfield and took that handoff, moved across the 40, and they'll mark him at the 43, a pickup of close to 8.
I thought he had a little bit more on that bad spot there. We have a Martinsburg player down.
Yes, we do. That looks to be one of the interior defensive linemen. That's Tanner Lucas, a 6'4", 290-pound junior who remains down. Trainer out to tend to him. That gain good for, well, about 7 as they now mark that football. Second down and a long 3, if you will, coming for Jefferson. If you're just joining us, a 42-0 Martinsburg lead. And Vic, you can say this one's really well in hand for the Bulldogs. And you kind of wonder if any of the players and coaches from the 1970 to 73 Anstead team are sitting around somewhere, maybe joining us on the internet or finding a way to watch us on WRNR TV and waiting to see what would happen and realizing now that the record win streak is about to be broken.
I think they're all at Anstead's one and only bar having a beer and crying in their beer that their record's gone, or at least close to being gone.
Yeah, not official yet, but The Dogs this year have not scored any fewer than 42 points in a game, and they're up 42-0 here at the half. And Vic, when you look at the last 10 meetings in this series with the Bulldogs going 10-0 in that time, the average score has been 54-10 as the Dogs have outscored the Cougars 543-104.
You know, the amazing part about it is, I don't know what the final score here is going to be tonight, but right now, obviously, it's awfully lopsided. But I think, you know, Coach said it in his interview, this team is not as bad as they appear. I say that with all honesty. They have some talented players. You know, they have some guys who can do a lot of things out there. Obviously, they don't have nearly as many as Martinsburg does. And at the same time, you know, but this is a team that can do some things, and I think if they could, a couple sure up things here and there. It's like every play there seems to be a little short here, a little short there. Missed a block here, missed a block there, you know, that type of thing. They're just close, but, you know, no cigar, as they say.
Now the training staff continuing to look at the left leg of the injured Bulldog Tanner Lucas. The good news is they are setting him up, and it looks like they're going to get him to his feet and see if they can walk him to the far sideline. He is putting a little bit of pressure on that right leg, but not a whole lot, as he is very, very noticeably limping. And now some teammates coming out, see if they can get underneath of each shoulder pad and help to get him to the sideline. We wish all the best for Lucas, and hopefully he can get back out on the field sometime soon. Tough loss inside for the Dogs, who again are playing this one without Dwayne Grantham as a linebacker. Continues out right now kind of on an indefinite basis, waiting for more results on the injury that's really affecting his leg and foot. And then Bryce Morris out tonight as well, out now for the rest of the year after tearing an ACL last week. So the defense takes another hit with Tanner Lucas going down. So 2nd down and 3, a long 3 coming for Jefferson from their own 43 as we get action back underway. 42-0 Martinsburg under 4 minutes on a now running second quarter clock. There is the snap, there is the give. Gravel off that left side, getting to the 45 before being driven sideways and taken down. Barrett and Smith in on that stop. Looks like they'll mark the progress. Well, let's see where. Boy, they're not giving him close to the 45. I thought he had pushed his way out there much further. Basically, they're putting it right back at the line of scrimmage.
He was at the 45-yard line when they hit him.
That's what I thought.
My goodness.
So it ends up being no gain, and will bring up now a 3rd down and 3. Pearson with a tight slot to his right, has a back to his right as well. Fakes the handoff, rolling near side, looking downfield, pocket collapsing. He looks for a hole, gets hit, spins away, and then gets taken down, sacked on the play, back inside the 40. They'll mark it at about the 36. Asa Creamer Gaskin off the bottom of the pile may get credit for that one.
Pearson's taking some hits back there as a quarterback. He's taking it upon himself. He's going to try to make something happen out there. And not a whole lot of help. Just again, that defense, that secondary for Martinsburg, they cover so well, and they don't give you a whole lot of time. You got to hit them quick and hit them early. 2:30 on the running clock here in the first half. 42-0. Martinsburg leads it. About to receive a punt.
This will be the 6th punt of this first half for Brian Long, and he is going to run with this one. Headed off that left side of the line. He'll get beyond the 40 and then taken down at about the 42-yard line. Asa Creamer Gaskins was the last one to hit him and bring him down.
I don't know if that was a called play or not. A lot of times kickers are given the given situation. Sometimes we'll pull it down and run with it. That just was not probably the ideal time to do it.
He's going to pick up just about 7, maybe 8 yards on that one. And now Martinsburg will take over with 2:09 to play in our first half, and the Bulldogs out in front 42-0 on a 1st down and 10 With the ball at the 43 of Jefferson, Grant Harmon taking the shotgun snap, gives to Naeem Kearney. Started to his right, cuts back to his left, now cuts downfield, and it's a foot race to the goal line, and Naeem Kearney wins it as he goes in from 43 yards out again, virtually untouched. Wow. Takes just 10 seconds for that 43-yard run.
He just simply planted his left foot, turned straight up the field, and just outran the last two guys who had ankles on him.
Vic, that is now 3 consecutive offensive plays in which Martinsburg has scored. The 1-yard touchdown run to end their 6th possession. The next possession, they were at the 8-yard line of Jefferson, ran 1 play and scored. And now this possession, 1 play from the Cougar 43, and the Dogs are in the end zone again. Chris Catlett with the extra point. It's up and it's through. We'll take another 60-second break. Martinsburg now out in front, 49-0.
It's one of the toughest times you'll ever face. When someone close to you passes away, it's a swirl of papers to sign and arrangements to be made, all while you're dealing with grief. At Brown Funeral Home, we encourage you to pre-plan. Pre-planning not only makes things easier for you, it protects you from rising costs. At Brown Funeral Home, our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson.
Now the ensuing kickoff coming for Chris Catlett. He's going to lay the football on its side at the 40-yard line and approach and squib it down the near side. It's going to bounce away from Lewis, rolling into the middle of the field, down inside the 10. That football's still free, and eventually Lewis is able to get on it at that 10-yard line. That is a free football as Anthony Smith came flying in there for the Bulldogs, and if he would have been able to knock that football free, could have been a mad scramble, and the Dogs may have had it. As is, Jefferson takes over at their own 9.
I thought that was what was going to happen there. I'll tell you, he bent down to pick it up. He was very, very lucky. Another half second, that ball would have squirted out of there, and then would have been a mad rush.
We understand 28-21. Mountain Ridge has a halftime lead at Spring Mills. High-scoring affair in that one. 1:59 left in our first half here. 49-0 Martinsburg in front. Jefferson from their own 9-yard line. Tough field position. Corbin Pearson out of the gun. Will have Gravel to his right side. 2 receivers out to the left. There is the snap. Pearson's going to keep it straight ahead, pushing his way forward. Out across the 10 to the 11. A pickup of just about 2. The most important part for Jefferson right now, time continuing to run off that clock down to 1:43 and counting. 2nd down and 8 coming up. I've got 9 carries for 1 positive yard right now for Pearson, as he's been sacked a couple of times, leading into negative yardage plays. On 2nd down and 8, he'll await the snap. He's got it, hands it off, coming near side, able to turn the corner out beyond the 15 to the 20-yard line. Gravel hit and taken down at about the 22. Boite, along with Barrett and Smith, all there to help make that stop. Nice carry that time. It's going to be a gain of about 11 and a 1st down run. Yeah, they were able to get some good blocking off this right side, and Gravel showed good speed.
It's one of the more successful plays they had. They had a little help on that one there. Good block here on the corner. We're down to under a minute now to go in first half.
From their own 21 after what turns out to be a 10-yard gain. Pearson out of the gun awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it and hands it off. Gravel this time to his left, hit almost immediately and taken down. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage and nothing more. I believe that's Brenniger coming from underneath of that play, who was able to really wrap him up and bring him down, and Pearson there as well.
Along with Trey Sign.
Yeah, that wasn't, take it back, it wasn't Brenniger. I don't see the 60 out there. But either way, a big play inside by a defensive lineman and followed up by the linebacker, and time winding down, and they may not snap the football again. We're down to 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Yep, Jefferson ready to head into the locker room at the half. Down to 0 on the clocks. There we go. The whistles blow. And as the teams head into the locker room, we'll check in with Jason Colrick. He'll be standing by with Martinsburg head coach David Walker as we get a chance to hear from the coach going into the locker room at the half.
Coach, your thoughts on a pretty dominating first half?
I know the score is 49-0, but I really feel like we're not playing really well. We're not real crisp. I think we've played down a little bit, but we've just we've had some individuals come up with some big plays. So I'd like to see us be a little crisper, but, give the ones a series here in the second half, and then, it should turn into a JV game.
All right, Coach, we'll see that.
Well, there you hear from Martinsburg head coach David Walker as the team heads into the locker room at the half out in front by a 49-0 score. Our halftime brought to you by Bill Stubblefield. Vote for Bill Stubblefield, your independent voice for the Berkeley County Council. We'll be back with some analysis from Vic as we recap a little of the first half. Then it's scores, highlights, and more from back of the studio as Matt Crawford brings us our halftime scoreboard show. All coming up after this timeout. Again, it's the intermission here in Jefferson County at Shenandoah Junction in Jefferson High School with the Martinsburg Bulldogs leading Jefferson 49-0.
I like Mike because he's not afraid to speak his mind, even if it means being politically incorrect.
I like Mike because he fights for people like me, the little guy that always gets forgotten about.
I like Mike because I value his opinions and his efforts in improving education in West Virginia for all students and school employees.
I like Mike because he votes right.
Because he's the type of leader we need in Charleston.
Accountable, ethical, responsible. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
If you're not progressing in healthcare, you're falling behind.
W Medicine has planted itself here, and they're the first university that I've found who wants to take ownership of this population of Western Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and the good people of West Virginia. And it's really refreshing to see.
I was able to do things that the patients were going away for, which is good for the patients, and it's good for us because we have more resources. Certainly has helped take us to another level.
Whether you need business cards, banners, magnets, office stationery, or promo material, Panhandle Printing and Design can make it happen. Call 304-267-7400 for a quote or visit us on the web at panhandleprintdesign.com.
Some senior band members. Well, we got our halftime activities underway from here at Jefferson High School as it is senior night, and we had some senior cheerleaders recognized before the game and seeing some senior band members being recognized here at the half. Along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Jason Colrick's on the sideline. Our studio engineer is Matt Crawford. Chip Rittenhouse is our TV10 cameraman. Well, Vic, what can you say about the first half? Coach Walker is very accurate as he's going into the locker room. It's hard to look up and see a 49-0 score and say we didn't play well, but at times in this first half, it's been a little sloppy.
It has, and you got to expect that sometime along the way. I mean, we're into the, 8th game of the season. I mean, it's late, and you haven't had it all year long. It's probably good you get it now and have the kids have a taste of that, know what it feels like to, even though you're winning, you're not playing well, you're not sharp, you're not crisp, it'll give you some more incentive to work a little bit harder come Monday when you go back to practice. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, I think what we're so used to is being spoiled by how well they play, how sharp they play, how crisp they play, and Jefferson has been a part of that. They've disrupted some things here tonight, and probably not well seen by the normal audience. If you're into football, you know the X's and the O's or whatever you would see. This is not a 1-7 football team. They're very capable of being better than that, and hopefully they will win a few more games here before the year's out. But, you know, I know you'd like to be able to say, you know, this team is just, you know, we're just not getting it. We're not sharp tonight. We're not crisp. And they're not. They really are not. But they're doing what they need to do, put points on the board. And at times they are sharp, they're crisp, and all the things you want. But at times they're not. And I think that's just a part of the fact that you're in the 8th game of the season, and you have not, should I say, been not sharp and crisp all year long.
Vic, you mentioned keys to the game in our pregame. As we are at the half, you said one of those keys, big plays. Martinsburg's had a 40-yard score, a 71-yard score, a 43-yard score offensively. At turnovers, you mentioned as well, a 55-yard interception return for score. And let's add in a 71-yard punt return and a 27-yard punt return. But that was fielded at the 35 going in. And those two big plays on punt returns helped us set up the offense with short fields as well.
Yeah, and that's a part of it. You know, if you're the underdog, especially being as big underdog as Jefferson is in there's things that you just cannot do. You know, Martinsburg, you want to get off to a fast start. Obviously, Jefferson, you want to slow that down. You know, you can't turn the ball over. Jefferson has done that. Eliminate the big plays. They were not able to do that, and try to control the ball a little bit. Too many 3 down and outs and non-productive possessions when they've had the ball.
Well, we will run some of the numbers a little later on here in our halftime, but up next we go back to the studio with highlights from the first half, scores and more. Matt Crawford standing by. Our halftime scoreboard show is next from here at Jefferson. Your score at the intermission, Martinsburg 49 and Jefferson nothing.
I am Bill Stubblefield, and I am running for Berkeley County Council. I was previously on the council for 6 years, the last 2 of which I was the president. Previously, I helped make a difference, and I'm confident I would do so again. I am physically conservative, and the last time I was able to help reduce the council's budget by 10% while protecting emergency services. I'm Bill Stubblefield, and I ask your support as an independent candidate when you vote for the Berkeley County Council.
Paid for by candidate.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelly Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for information.
Welcome into our halftime scoreboard show. Matt Crawford here with you in the Talk Radio WRNR studios. Martinsburg looking to make it 37 in a row, set the West Virginia win streak record. And quite frankly, they are doing one heck of a job in this first half. Although I will give credit to Jefferson being only 1-6. They really have given Martinsburg one of the best looks they had, especially in that first quarter, one of the best looks they had all year. So hats off to Jefferson for the way they have come out and played Martinsburg in this first half. And you heard Coach Walker say that right before we came back here. Quite frankly, Jefferson playing almost as good as, or I shouldn't say almost as good, but Sharando was really the only other team that gave Martinsburg a fit like that in the first half, and I shouldn't really call it a fit. It was just a little bit of a struggle in that first half. Let's get started with some highlights before we take a look at what else is going on around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, we don't have the Gerard Bowie 40-yard touchdown pass from Grant Harmon to get the game started. That made the score 7-0 early, but the very next defensive drive, Trey Sign had this 55-yard pick six to make it 14-0.
Back to throw, lets it go near side, off the hands of the intended receiver, picked off at the 45-yard line and down the near sideline. There goes Trey Sign. He's going to race all the way into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That pass intended for John Gidney along the near side as he reached up and had a tick off of his fingertips. Sign was right there to pick it off and go 55 yards.
It would be 21-0 at the end of the first quarter after this 71-yard catch and run. Teddy Marshall from Grant Harmon.
Throws far side, throws a little high, but pulling it down is Teddy Marshall. Marshall on the wide receiver screen, stays in bounds along that far side, and now outraces everyone down the sideline. He's going to go all the way. He's to the 5 and into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That high pass looked to blow off any timing on that play, but as he pulled it down and got through the initial guys that were there being blocked by the Bulldog wide receivers, well, no one could catch him, and he takes it in from 71 yards away.
While it was a good first quarter, Martinsburg a 21-0 lead. The second quarter was even nicer. Naeem Kearney had himself a quarter. 3 touchdowns in this quarter. Got it started from 1 yard out with his 13th touchdown of the year to make it 28-0.
That is Grant Harmon. He will turn, hand it off. Kearney off that left side of the line, follows those blocks into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Naeem Kearney with his 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
He would get his 14th rushing touchdown on the season and his second in as many drives with this 2-yard touchdown run.
Naeem Kearney coming back out. R.J. Barrett will be a lead blocker along with Asa Kramer-Gaskins as Martinsburg goes with that heavy formation to the left. Harmon out from under center, hands it off that left side. Naeem Kearney gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown, his second TD run of the first half.
You mentioned Grant Harmon handing that one off. He would get onto the scorebook. A 8-yard touchdown run to give Martinsburg a 6-touchdown lead at 42-0.
27 yards on that punt return, and with 4:24 to play in the first half, football at the 8-yard line. First and goal. Grant Harmon takes the snap, rolls to his right, season opening, cuts upfield, and sprints into the end zone for the touchdown. 8 yards on that TD run and went in untouched.
Naeem Kearney's first 2 touchdown runs were from inside the 5-yard line, the 1-yard line, and the 2-yard line. He would find some space. 43 yards out on his 3rd touchdown run of the second quarter, his 15th on the year. This one from 43 yards out to make the score 49-0.
With the ball at the 43 of Jefferson, Grant Harmon taking the shotgun snap, gives to Naeem Kearney. Started to his right, cuts back to his left, now cuts downfield, and it's a foot race to the goal line, and Naeem Kearney wins it as he goes in from 43 yards out again, virtually untouched.
The Naeem Kearney 2-yard touchdown run, the Grant Harmon 8-yard touchdown run, and then the Kearney 43-yard touchdown run. 3 consecutive offensive plays. The offense really started to click late in that first half, and maybe the Jefferson defense just getting a little tired. All right, that's a look at how that first half went. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the other games going on featuring Eastern Panhandle schools, and we'll take a look at AAA and some AA games of interest around the Mountain State. You're listening to the Halftime Scoreboard Show. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
Does your daughter have a bigger diamond than your wife? Hi, I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. We see it all the time. Daughters with bigger diamonds than their moms. So, dear husbands, let's fix that problem. Dave and I leave for Antwerp, the diamond capital of the world, on October 21st, where we find the best and bigger diamond that will make mom very happy, which means you are one happy husband. Stop by Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South Inwood, and we'll talk about how a diamond from Antwerp will take care of that little problem.
Hi, I'm Philip McCoy. Ameriprise Financial has been serving and supporting this community for decades. We believe that every dream is personal and needs a personal plan. That's why you can count on the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, to understand your unique needs and goals. Whether you want to make the most of the money you have, save for a comfortable retirement, or plan to leave a legacy, the Mirius Group can help you realize your dreams of today and tomorrow. Call the Mirius Group at 304-263-4343. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome back into the Halftime Scoreboard Show. Martinsburg 49-0, the halftime lead over the Jefferson Cougars. Second half of action coming up here in just a few minutes before sending you back out to Shenandoah Junction. Let's take a look at what else is going on around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. A couple of games that you would expect to be lopsided featuring Eastern Panhandle teams this evening. Obviously, our score 49-0. Musselman is hosting Washington. Washington coming off a bye week, still looking for their first win. Musselman, the number 3 AAA team in the state, they're 7-0. They lead 56-0. It was Hedgesville taking on Hampshire. They had to travel to Hampshire. Hampshire took the quick 6-0 lead, but Hedgesville scored 35 unanswered that game at the half. Hedgesville leading 35-6. And it was Mountain Ridge at Spring Mills. Right now, Mountain Ridge a 28-21 lead in that game. That game also at the halftime And still, last update in the second quarter was that Musselman-Washington score. I'm guessing it just hasn't been updated in a while. They were awfully quick going through that game. All right, some other scores of interest in AAA around the Mountain State this evening. Can't believe it's Week 9 already. Number 4 Capital at Woodrow Wilson, 39-0. That game last updated in the second quarter. Capital with the lead there. Huntington and Cavill Midland. In the third quarter, Cavill Midland is up 21-7. Second quarter of action, Ripley and St. Albans. St. Albans getting shut out by Ripley, 22-0. That game last updated in the second quarter. Parkersburg South, 20-0 over Greenbrier East in the second quarter. That is your Metro News AAA game of the week. And at the half, it's Wheeling Park over Princeton, 31-14. Also at the half, John Marshall is losing to Morgantown 35-13. That would be a big win for Morgantown if they could keep doing the way they've been doing the first half and the second half. Morgantown coming in at 3-5. John Marshall, the number 9 team in AAA, they're at 5-2. It's University and Preston. Preston coming in at 1-6. University 4-4. Last update in the second quarter, University a 30-0 lead. And George Washington and Riverside, they're in the second quarter. George Washington a 7-6 lead over Riverside. 2 more games for you. 21-0. Buchanan Upshur over Brook. That game last updated in the first quarter. I believe it's changed by now, but we'll try to get you one of those, or a final to that, after we are done here tonight. And Hurricane and South Charleston, last updated in the second quarter, 14-14 is the score there. And Fairmont Senior in AA, 34-3 up over Grafton. That game last updated at the half. All right. We appreciate you tuning into the Halftime Scoreboard Show. Second half of action coming up from Shenandoah Junction as Washington tries to make it, as Martinsburg tries to make it 37 in a row and break the West Virginia win streak record. After this 1-minute break, we'll send you back out to Matt, Vic, and Jason. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, it makes sense to choose an insurance agent that's a part of your community. Your local Allstate agent knows the ins and outs of both owning and protecting a home in your neighborhood. By choosing a local Allstate agent, you get an expert who knows the community and is committed to getting to know you, which means you'll get the protection that fits you and your life. Are you in good hands? Contact Martinsburg Allstate agent Gary Kelly today for a free quote at 263-4596. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company.
You need to keep your vehicle in good working order, but car and truck repairs can be very costly. Bears Repair in Martinsburg performs all kinds of auto repairs at prices most often well below their competition. Bears Repair offers tune-ups, oil change and lubrication, small and large engine and...
Whether you need business cards, banners, magnets, office stationery, or promo material, Panhandle Printing and Design can make it happen. Call 304-267-7400 for a quote or visit us on the web.
Tell me when. Now that is a way to come back to Cougar Stadium as we continue with our halftime report. The Jefferson High School marching band with an outstanding halftime performance and the crowd enjoying as we welcome you back. Wow, great job.
Great performance, I'll tell you. You know, once upon a time I remember the good old days when both schools' bands would play at halftime. I haven't seen that happening anymore. I don't know what it is. Just it seems like the home team band does the whole entire show, and that's pretty much it. But that was worth the price of admission right there.
There you go. Big production.
They were great.
All right, time for us to take a look at the numbers from the half as we welcome you back in. First of all, great job. Matt Crawford back at the studio with highlights and scores. Stay tuned after the game. He'll have more of that on our postgame scoreboard show. Right now, our halftime, a service of Bill Stubblefield. Vote for Bill Stubblefield, your independent voice for the Berkeley County Council. Halftime stats, a service of Bears Repair, 904 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. Vic, let's start with Jefferson offensively. A ton of possessions in that first half. They had the football 9 times. They would turn it over on their very opening possession. An interception return 55 yards for a score by the Bulldogs' Trey Sign. After that, punt, then a missed field goal from 41 yards out, then a punt, fake punt, and then take the ball into the locker room at the half. Never got a whole lot going. 32 offensive plays. I've got 24 total yards, 14 rushing, and 10 passing.
Hey, it's been really tough sledding. It really has been. And, when they had something going, it seems like something seemed to backfire. They were in a situation where maybe they'd pick up a few yards and you got a second and mid or, 5 or 6 yards or whatever. The next play, they lose 5 or 6 yards, or a couple passing completions, and next thing you know, they have to punt the football. So they really had it tough, and they've been tough on themselves as well with a couple bad penalties and, of course, the turnovers, as we talked about, and field position, all that sort of thing. So Martinsburg is even though, again, it hasn't been a clean game for Martinsburg because we've seen too many clean, smooth games. This one was not. This has been a tough, it really has been pretty tough physically out there in this ball game, but they have simply just still dominated the game.
Well, you mentioned those penalties for Jefferson, 6 of those for 46 yards. Along with that turnover, we had them with just 3 first-half first downs. They were 1 of 8 on third down conversions and 0 of 1 on fourth down, trying on that run by the punter as they were facing a 4th and long in that situation. Individual numbers, starting quarterback Corbin Pearson is 2 of 10 passing for 10 yards, connecting on a 6-yard pass to his tight end Nathan Moll, and then a 4-yard strike going to, his wide receiver John Gidney. Outside of that, running the football, 6 carries, 9 yards for Jacob Gamble, and then 4 carries for 18 yards for Aaron Gravel. Pearson has carried 9 times but has just 1 positive yard as he has been sacked a couple of times for negative 15 yards. And you add in 1 team rush that goes for minus 21 yards. Remember that strip fumble that they were still able to recover but lost a ton of yards on that play.
Yeah, it's been really tough for them. Even when they seemed like they were getting themselves kind of in some type of a groove, next thing you know, it's a lost yardage play, it's an incompletion, it's 3rd and long. They seem to shoot themselves in the foot every time you think they've got something going, or they have the potential of having something going. Something would seem to go wrong.
Well, let's turn to the Martinsburg Bulldog offense. We had them running 23 plays for 231 yards in the first half, 88 rushing yards, 143 passing yards. The Dogs did have 1 turnover as they fumbled it away on their second possession, but outside of that, they have scored on all but 1 other possession. They did get forced to punt, so in 2 of their first 3 possessions, 1 score, 1 turnover, 1 punt. After that, touchdown, 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 touchdown. They finally got things going.
Yeah, they got things going, and something we just normally don't see. We don't see very many penalties from Martinsburg. We saw a rare fumble, and that was just a kind of a freak thing that happened. But, again, you can't come out every night and play as sharp and crisp as they have all year long. But then you turn around and you take a look and you say, well, it's halftime. We're up 49-0. How crisp and sharp do you have to be? And sometimes you'd like to be every game, every play, but it just doesn't happen that way.
Let's finish out some team numbers as the Bulldogs 0 of 2 on third down, but 1 for 1 on fourth down, albeit that came on an offside penalty. 10 first downs for the Bulldogs, if I failed to mention that, and the 4 penalties for 40 yards. Individually, you're looking at starting quarterback Grant Harmon, 3 of 4 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Harmon, 2 carries, 26 yards, and has added a score. And then Elijah Banks, 3 of 6 for 20 yards, 2 carries for minus 16 as he's been sacked twice. Looking at the ground game, 8 carries, 70 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first half for Naeem Kearney, and that has really been it as far as the running game game for Martinsburg outside of the yardage for Harmon. 1 catch, 12 yards for Michael Boite. 2 grabs, 45 yards and a score for Gerard Bowie. Teddy Marshall, a catch for 71 yards and a score. 1 grab, 11 yards for Matt Van Duzer, and a catch for 4 yards for Naeem Kearney. Oh, by the way, don't forget a couple of big punt returns, as Gerard Bowie had a punt return in that first half for 71 yards, and Van Duzer a 27-yard punt return that in both of those situations set up Martinsburg with first and goal when they very quickly scored. This look at the numbers brought to you by Bears Repair, 904 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. For all of your automotive repair needs, call Kevin Bass and the certified mechanics at Bears Repair, 304-262-0208. And our halftime, a service of Bill Stubblefield. Vote for Bill Stubblefield, your independent voice for the Berkeley County Council.
You know, Matt, one of the amazing parts about this is Martinsburg as well has probably some all-state players that won't make all-state. They got receivers that's not going to make all-state. They're not going to have enough catches. They're not in the game long enough, you know, whereas you're going to have some teams that they have one receiver and they throw the ball to him all the time.
Well, Chris Catlett approaches. The kick is away as we get our second half started along the far side between the numbers and the sideline. Gitney takes it inside the 10, works to the middle of the field, getting to the 15, but not much further as he is snowed under by a host of Bulldogs special teamers. Marcus progress to about the 17. With our second half getting underway, let's check in again down on the sidelines with Jason Colrick.
Matt, as Coach said, going into halftime, you're probably only going to see the first teamers in here for a series or two. They're taking some injuries on that defensive line, so it's going to be interesting to see just how long he keeps those players in.
Sideline Reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible. 1st and 10 from their own 17. Jefferson football on first down handoff, and that is Gravel, who started right, cut back, up the middle, outside the 20 to the 21-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards. Well, they used him a lot in that last drive of the first half, albeit they ran 3 plays. He had a couple of carries, one of those for 10, lifting him up to 18 yards. So maybe the Cougars hoping they can find a little something. 2nd down and 6 from that 21. Shifting some players from each side of the field as they'll have 2 receivers to the near side, single receiver to the far side, tight slot to that left side as well, almost right over top of the tackle. Pearson with a back to his right side, takes a low snap. Whoa, now has to pick it up as it actually got through his hands, and he will throw it along the near side, trying to get it out of bounds. Was it intercepted? No, Michael Boite could not keep his feet in bounds. He tried to drag a toe and make the catch at about the 37-yard line in Jefferson territory, but it's incomplete.
Seemed like a little bit of confusion offensively there for Jefferson and trying to get that play off. It'll bring up a 3rd down. Another 3rd and long situation, something you don't want to be in. Plus, you haven't changed the field position at all. They have to punt it away. You're looking at Martinsburg getting decent field position again.
You mentioned those 3rd and longs. How about a 3rd and 11, a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 3. What they faced in that first half, converted only once. Out of the gun, Pearson awaiting the shotgun snap. Again, back to his left side. 2 receivers going each way. There is the snap, and on the play action, Pearson. Control roll to that far side. Lets that pass go. That's the tight end who will make the grab and get to about the 25-yard line. A pickup of 4, but not enough for the first. The second time they've gone to Nathan Mole. I hope I'm saying it right. It's M-U-H-L-E, the 6'3 sophomore tight end, with the catch.
Always makes me wonder. I see plays like that. I see it in the NFL. I know he's probably the 3rd primary receiver on that play, but you're running a 4-yard pattern. You need 6 yards for a first down. And with a guy right there on him, if he's wide open, that's a little bit different.
The line of scrimmage, the 25, the snap back to Long. Brian Long, the punter, gets it out of there. Low wobbly kick angling far side, hit at the 40 along the numbers, and then took a Jefferson roll out of bounds on that far sideline right at the midfield stripe. So the punt covers 25 yards, no return, and with 10:13 to play in quarter number 3, Martinsburg comes on for their first offensive possession.
Well, the only good thing about these punts, the fact that they aren't being run back, but they're not getting any distance at all.
Elijah Banks in at quarterback. We'll have Naeem Kearney behind him in a pistol formation. Trip receivers to the wide side left as the Bulldogs start this second half with the wind at their back. They move from right to left. Single receiver to that far side. There is the snap and the give. Naeem Kearney sheds one tackler in the backfield, sheds another coming near side, will be grabbed, held onto, and taken down. That's a nice tackle by, I believe, Jacob Gamble, and it is Gamble who was able to get a hold and just not let go.
Yeah, he simply held on because Naeem Kearney ran through basically 2 tackles before that.
How about a loss of a yard to bring up 2nd and 11 now from the Bulldog 49-yard line. Not often that you see Kearney going backwards. On 2nd and 11, trip receivers to the wide side right. Banks again awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it, hands it off. Naeem Kearney started right, finds a little cutback lane quickly into the secondary where he's hit and brought down after a gain of about 9. Wiping up the end of that play, Francis Diaz, who hit him up high, had someone down low who was helping to bring him down as well. Still, that gain goes back into Jefferson territory down to that 42-yard line, and we'll call it a 3rd down and 2. Big play for this Jefferson defense. You'd like to be able to force the punt. Banks awaiting for the snap. A Jefferson defensive lineman lunging forward but stayed out of the neutral zone. Now Banks and the entire offense for the Dogs look to that far sideline, getting that play call. Kearney switches from the left to the right side of the quarterback. He'll be a lead blocker. Banks off that right side has the first down inside the 35 down to about the 34. That's Gamble again on that tackle. So the Bulldogs get their first 3rd down conversion of the night, 1 of 3 now. They pick up their 11th first down, and from the 34 of Jefferson, 1st and 10 coming.
That's a pretty good run there by Banks. You got to tackle that guy. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, so he's a load out there as a quarterback.
Couple of carries in the first half, both were sacks. This time a positive yard gain. Banks to throw on 1st and 10, deep over the middle, and has the open receiver as Michael Boite makes the grab inside the 10 and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown along the near side hash mark. He had gotten a step on the defensive back Corbin Pearson, a well-thrown ball from Banks, and it's a 34-yard score.
Well, that ball was right on the money, as we say. There were 2 receivers to this side, and they were in a short post and a deep post. And he was wide open on the deep post there as he beat him across the middle. Just too much speed.
So Banks with the touchdown pass, Boite with the touchdown reception, and Martinsburg adds to the lead. Chris Catlett for the extra point. It's up and good. 8:09 to play in quarter number 3, and we will take a break with Martinsburg in front now, 56-0.
Hello, I'm Michael Falk, a lifelong resident of West Virginia, husband and father. I worked my way through school and life with honesty, hard work, and determination. These principles have served me well in athletics, education, farming, and aviation, and have carried me through years of fighting for a more accountable government at the local and state level. These same core principles will allow me to serve you well in Charleston. I believe true leadership is sticking your neck out for right, even when it goes against the establishment. You can help me put principle over politics and beat the odds one more time.
We'll give you the scoring drive after the ensuing kickoff as Chris Catlett puts it on the tee at the 40 to our right. It's along the near side hash mark, 3 back deep for Jefferson along the 10-yard line. Catlett approaches. He will kick deep, end over end kick, low line drive, return man back along the near side, takes it at the 5, quickly up across the 10 and the 15 to the 20. Gets hit there, spun down, and Trenton Shelton, 5'9" senior on that return, comes up holding his arm as he took that initial hit. He'll come to the near sideline as Jefferson gets their second possession of this second half. Scoring drive summary brought to you by 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett, Trusted Leadership, Real Solutions. For the Bulldogs, 4 plays, 50 yards, 2 minutes, 4 seconds, capped by a 34-yard touchdown pass. Elijah Banks to Michael Boite. TD pass number 12 for Banks. Touchdown catch number 2 for Boite. 1st and 10 Jefferson from their own 22. Pearson out of the gun awaits, has that snap, coming to the near side. That looks to be Gravel, able to turn that corner along the numbers, works his way out beyond the 30 to about the 31-yard line. Gets taken down there after a gain of 9 yards. Well, they are finding a little bit of something in that ground game with Aaron Gravel, 5'10", 205 pounds. Senior picking up 13 yards on a couple of carries here in this second half, after 4 carries, 18 yards in that first half. On a 2nd down and 1 from their own 31. Pearson taking the snap, hands again to Gravel, this time off the left side of the line, no place to go. Hit almost immediately as the Bulldog defense controlled that line of scrimmage. Pearson in there, Asa Creamer Gaskin, several Bulldogs helping on the gang tackle.
Along with Barrett and also Grant Harmon in there.
It's going to be a loss back to the 30 -1, and will set up a 3rd down and 2. Jefferson 1 of 9 on 3rd down conversions.
Believe it or not, this is a big play for Jefferson.
Yep. Certainly would like to keep this drive going. Don't want to give it back to that Bulldog offense. Tight slot to the right. 2 receivers each way. Handoff to the tailback. No place to go for Gravel. Went right up the gut and ran into the arms of Cullinay. Brenniger in there as well. Again, the line of scrimmage being controlled by that Bulldog defensive front. No gain on the play, and 4th down will be coming up. I'm imagining you got a punt in this situation.
Well, you know, you're down real deep in the football game. You got to punt it away. You just can't. You're not going to win the ball game here on this play. And this is not a gamble play.
So once again, to kick it out of there, Brian Long had a 25-yard punt his last time. Back deep, Van Duzer and Bowie. A late entrant onto the field, Kyle Kuchar. He'll get into position, and there is the snap back. The Bulldogs don't rush. The punt is away. Floating kick going to bounce at the 49 of Martinsburg, taken on that big hop by Van Duzer inside the 45, and he'll pick up just a couple of yards as they'll mark him out to the 46-yard line. Punt of about 26 yards, return of about 4 or 5, and with 5:36 to play in quarter number 3, Martinsburg taking over in command in this one, up 56-0. We'll check in with Jason in just a moment from their own 47. 1st and 10 Bulldogs. Grant Harmon back out there at quarterback, so he'll get at least one opportunity offensively in this second half after Elijah Banks led the team on that first third quarter possession. Harmon takes that snap and hands it off. That's Trey Sign coming here to the near side. Slips a tackle at the midfield stripe, getting inside the 45, hit and taken down out of bounds at about the 42 in Jefferson territory. Longerbeam with a nice tackle on the near side. Longerbeam is their leading tackler, came in with 74 on the season.
That's a good job of blocking on that one. It's just a trap play, and having the right guard pull and come down and make a good trap block. I wasn't sure exactly who it was, but I think it was Cullinane, I believe, on the trap block.
Well, that springs Sign for an 11-yard gain. Trey Sign has 32 carries, 185 yards, and 3 scores coming in. He'll line up to the right side of the quarterback. Shotgun snap again to Harmon. Oh, he drops the football, dives on it at the 45, and it'll be a loss of 3, but Martinsburg will maintain possession. Yeah, the Bulldogs fortunate there. Not sure. The snap was a little bit low, but I think Harmon was kind of rushing to get that up there for either the handoff and or the fake.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get it there a little bit too quick.
From the Jefferson 45, a 2nd and 13 coming for Martinsburg. Two receivers again to each side of the formation. 4:16 on a running third quarter clock. 56-0 Martinsburg. There's the waist-high snap. Rolling far side. Harmon going to throw deep and incomplete. Just kind of threw that one up as a jump ball intended for Teddy Marshall with Antoine Lewis back there defensively for Jefferson. And that one kind of sailed really almost between the two of them, as Lewis never really saw the ball coming, and Marshall tried to make an adjustment to get to it, but just could not. Just the second incompletion for Harmon, 3 of 5, 123 yards and a couple of scores now. With the incompletion, 3rd and 13 for Martinsburg from the Jefferson 45. Converted on a 3rd and 2 in their opening possession of this second half. 3 receivers to the wide side right. Boite, the single receiver, here to the left. Harmon will send Sign out of the backfield in motion. He takes that shotgun snap, keeps it, gets hit, driven backwards, tries to stay on his feet, still has stayed on his feet, and then eventually goes down as he ends up back at the 47-yard line. Ultimately, he got helped out as he bounced into his own offensive tackle, Brandon Moran, who really helped to hold him up, and then as he spun off of him, saw other guys coming and said, okay, I'm going down. It's a loss of almost 6.
That's a weird play, I'll tell you.
Yes. So the punt unit comes on as the Bulldogs will work to pin Jefferson deep. That is Trey Sign. Awaiting that snap at about the 38-yard line, and hang on. Did we get a timeout taken before movement? Yes, we did. Timeout taken. Martinsburg seemed to have a couple of guys moving early on that far side. They wave off the flag as Jefferson calls for the timeout. A 30-second break, and then we'll be back with 3:19 to play in the third, and Martinsburg in front 56-0. All right, Jason, I'll try to come down. Well, sideline reports throughout the game, a service of Mike Folk for State Senate District 16, accountable, ethical, responsible. We go down to the sideline and join Jason.
You know, Coach talked about he was going to take his ones out sometime here in the second half. Problem with that is at this point, you're so late in the season that you've got to keep them sharp. You really only got one more regular season game before you start your playoff run. So that's probably why we're continuing to see the ones out there.
Helen, you also are rotating quarterbacks in and out. So we saw Banks with 1 possession, and now we're seeing Harmon with 1 possession. I'll be anxious to see the next time the offense gets the football how the Bulldogs will play it. Martinsburg quickly racing onto the field coming out of the timeouts. They will line up as Trey Sign awaits that snap at the 40. He's got it and punts it away. Nice high spiraling kick. Lewis going to chase it all the way back down inside the 5-yard line. He dropped it on a bounce. The football then gets picked up, and let's see what we will have, as it looks like it will be Martinsburg football inside the 5-yard line, as that loose ball was corralled by Joshua Woodfork. Martinsburg will have it.
Wow, gee.
Oh, my. Antoine Lewis back deep, had that one go through his hands inside the 5-yard line. It looked like it was bouncing right back up to him, but then the ball got knocked away, and Woodfork was right there to pick it up. And with 3:19 to play in the third, it is Bulldog football, first down and goal to go at the 2. They'll line up heavy to the left. The handoff going to Trey Sign. He's taken down in the backfield for a loss on the play. Defender knifing in there, able to get him down around the ankles. We also have a penalty marker down over on that far sideline.
We have a Martinsburg player came into the ball game late after the snap of the ball. I mean, it's a legal substitution situation, but go back to Jefferson. They called the timeout before the punt. The reason for it was they had 12 men on the field again. So that cost them the ball on the punt. So now we're going to have a penalty against Martinsburg. Let's see the signal. Should be illegal participation.
Yep,
or illegal substitution.
That's what it is. They're going to move it back to the 7-yard line where it now becomes first and goal from the 7. So the Dogs' first penalty of this second half now moves them to 5 penalties for 45 yards on the ball game. It is Grant Harmon out there at quarterback, taking that shotgun snap, looking near side and then getting hit. Wow, taken down on the play very quickly. Knifing in there was Javon Lang, the 6'2", 240-pound senior defensive end, and he'll get the sack back near the 15.
Well, I could see him standing up coming, and no one picked him up. No one blocked him at all. He did a nice job of just simply finding the hole there, coming up between the tackle and the end. One of the better plays defensively tonight for Jefferson.
So second down and goal to go now from the 15-yard line after that sack. So a penalty and a sack, and the Dogs are going the wrong direction. Out of the shotgun, Harmon taking this snap. He's got some time this time. Pocket is collapsing. He gets hit as he throws back near corner of the end zone, just slightly overthrown as Matt Van Duzer unable to pull it in. We do have a penalty marker down right where Harmon got hit at the end of the play. We have a second penalty marker down as well. Holding Martinsburg, personal foul, roughing the passer, Jefferson. Those are going to offset as they both occur during the play. Neither one is a dead ball. Both are occurring during the play, so Martinsburg will run the play again from the 15-yard line. Second down and goal to go.
Well, these are the times when you throw your screen passes or your delays or your quick hits. So what are we doing here?
And they're moving it back to the line of scrimmage, the 15, and it will be second down and goal to go. The pass rush is what forced that errant throw. If Harmon had another second, he probably completes that one. Here is the wide receiver screen near side. Michael Boite with the catch. Blockers in front to the 5 and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
It's just a screen play pass to the wing out here on the far side, which they were very successful with the whole entire night. So another touchdown throw.
For Grant Harmon, his third touchdown pass on the night lifts him to 17 on the season. Second touchdown catch here in this second half for Michael Boite, his third on the year. And the Bulldogs do add to the lead. Snaps a little high, but the placement down for Trenton Sherman. And Chris Catlett adds the extra point. And with exactly 2 minutes left in quarter number 3, we will take a break with your score now. Martinsburg 63 and Jefferson nothing.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learn@valley.com.
We'll give you the unique drive summary as we come back. But first, the ensuing kickoff. A low-line drive along the far side. Bounces at the feet of Antoine Lewis. Eventually picked up by Gravel. Gravel along the far side. Numbers gets out beyond the 20 and the 25. Lost the football as he got hit. Free between the 25 and the 30. A mad scramble for it. And waiting to see who's going to come out of there with it. And it looks like Jefferson Cougar football. Wow, able to dive on that one and keep it for them. Looks to be Aaron Gravel. So the young man that was on that return recovers his own fumble. Vic, how's this for a drive summary? 2 plays, 2 yards, 1 minute and 19 seconds, but it's a 15-yard touchdown pass from Grant Harmon to Michael Boite as a result of a penalty and then a sack on the first play. A 15-yard touchdown pass to cap a 2-yard drive.
Yeah, this is getting weirder and weirder. if it's possible.
1:52 to play, quarter number 3. All Martinsburg on their way to what is now going to be a state record 37 consecutive wins. From their own 28-yard line, 1st and 10, Jefferson. Corbin Pearson awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it. Hands it off. Grayville off the left side. Penalty marker down as Grayville gets an opening along the far sideline, out beyond the 40 and the 45. Gets to the midfield stripe and then taken down along that far side, right around the 47 in Martinsburg territory. But hold on, I got a feeling this one's coming back.
That's another holding.
There it is. Hold at Jefferson, and this one is costly because that nullifies what would have been their biggest offensive play so far in this first half, or really in the game as a whole, looking back through the first half, and now here in this third quarter. Their first penalty of the second half, pardon me.
Yeah, their best running plays have been to the weak side. They had trip receivers to this side over here and the back to this side, and so the strength of formation was to this side, and they ran back the other direction, the other side. That's been their best offensive play. Martinsburg shifts over to slide with the strength of their formation, and Jefferson does a good job of running behind it.
It'll bring up now 1st and about 18 as they move the football back to the 20-yard line. Handoff to the tailback off that left side again goes Grayville, but again, I see a penalty marker down in the backfield. That penalty marker along the far side numbers, and that one's down around the 15-yard line. That would occur almost 5 yards deep in the backfield if it is another hold. Our head referee looking to the near sideline and giving the indication, yes, it is another hold. That is going to put the football all the way back down at around the 6-yard line. Yikes.
Well, I think they're going to have to run one between the tackles now. Every time they've gone off tackle, trying to get outside, they've had a holding penalty. I think you're going to have to run right at Martinsburg a little bit. Try just a little bit, just try to slow them down because they're beating you to the corners.
They've got to get out to the 38-yard line to get a first. There is the handoff straight ahead running, and the football is free. It bounced on the ground and then grabbed by the Bulldogs, as I believe it was Ricky Barrett who was able to get to that football. Let's check in with Jason down on the sideline as the Martinsburg defense comes up with another big play.
Yeah, they did. And actually on that kickoff return, the fumble, if you actually see the replay of it, Martinsburg actually recovered that one too, but the Cougars just couldn't go anywhere. They've been holding all night. Martinsburg just now finally getting the calls. A little too late on that though.
So Martinsburg takes over on the fumble recovery. Again, it would look like R.J. Barrett, who was the one able to jump on that loose football. And with the turnover, Martinsburg with outstanding field position, 1st and goal at the Jefferson 10. Elijah Banks going to come back out at quarterback. 51 seconds to play in the third. There is the snap. Handoff to the tailback. Started to his left, cut back to his right. Moves down inside the 5. Mark him at around the 3-yard line. And getting the carry this time for the Bulldogs, number 42, Richard Ramirez, a 5'8", 175-pound sophomore. He's had a few carries on the varsity level so far this season. In fact, 5 for 15 yards. And he's going to add just about 7 yards to that total right here. So now the Bulldogs starting to blend in some of the younger players. So from the 3-yard line, it will bring up a 2nd down and goal to go. And I think Martinsburg's going to hold. They don't have to snap the football. Play clock and game clock are almost right on top of one another. Down to 4, down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. There is the snap, there is the give, and Ramirez met in the backfield, and maybe it would have been better advised to take that one into quarter number 4. Looked like Brandon Hudson, a senior defensive end, 6'5", 256, able to make that stop, and that'll be a loss back to the 5-yard line, and that will be the final play of quarter number 3. Back with your fourth quarter of action in just a moment with Martinsburg leading Jefferson 63-0.
I'm John Doyle. I'm running for the House of Delegates in the 67th District. The Rockwell Insulation Plant is being given $6 million in property tax breaks to bring 150 jobs to Jefferson County. If 150 different small businesses in Jefferson County each created one new job, they would get $0 in tax breaks. That makes no sense. I'm running for the House of Delegates to bring some common sense to economic development in West Virginia.
Well, we head to quarter number 4 along with Vic Holmes. I'm Matt Miller. Jason Colrick on the sideline. Matt Crawford back at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse out in the cold along with Jason as he is on the top of the press box running our TV10 camera. Glad that you could join us for the telecast as well as the audio broadcast of tonight's game on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV10. There will be a replay of this game on Wednesday night, as each week we bring you the action Friday night and a replay of the game on Wednesday nights. Well, quarter number 4 getting started. 3rd and goal from the 5 for the Bulldogs. Now moving from left to right. Elijah Banks in there, takes the low snap, slings it out far side. Catch made. Naeem Kearney getting hit and taken down inside the 5 at about the 4. Penalty marker down on the play.
That should be a personal foul. I think that's going to be a personal foul against Jefferson.
There it is.
Hitting the quarterback way late. That was very intentional.
So the pass completion going to pick up just a yard, and then the penalty gets marked off from there. So they got it out to Naeem Kearney, trying to get him in some space to maybe be able to get into the end zone. Didn't happen on the play, but the penalty will move the football down to about the 2-yard line. So from the 2, it'll bring up 1st down and goal to go. Martinsburg letting time run off the clock, and now Martinsburg will call for a timeout. Let's keep it here, Vic, and just talk about some of the numbers for this Martinsburg Bulldog team. They are going to set the record with their 37th consecutive victory. But let's go back to the beginning of the 2010 season. With a win tonight, Martinsburg will have 110 victories in 117 games over that span. Just 7 losses since the 2010 season, and only 2 of those 7 losses have come against a West Virginia opponent, and both of those against the Capital Cougars in the 2014 semifinals and the 2015 quarterfinals, both at Laidley Field, now University of Charleston Stadium. Outside of that, Martinsburg has really had a special run.
Well, they have, and I'll tell you, there's not many teams, and I don't care what state you're in, that's just phenomenal to have that type of record and be able to do what they have done, and this is short of no other record that there is in the country. This is phenomenal.
Well, let's see what the Bulldogs do now coming out of the timeout. They line up on the 1st and goal from the 2. The snap back to the quarterback, and Elijah Banks going to keep it right up the middle and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. So Elijah Banks goes in from 2 yards out. Looking back through his rushing numbers, Banks doesn't carry the ball a lot, but it is his 3rd rushing touchdown.
Just a reminder to the folks that in this ball game, there's a running clock here in the 4th quarter. 12 minutes, the clock runs, and even on stop whistle on plays, the clock continues to run.
Snap and placement for the extra point. Chris Catlett, perfect on the night, keeps that going. And with 10 minutes left, we will take a timeout with Martinsburg in command. Now out in front, 70-0.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%. Parsons' goal of financing for all. And Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars, too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Oh. Well, let's give you the drive summary brought to you by 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. 4 plays, 10 yards, 2 minutes and 51 seconds after the fumble recovery. Martinsburg scores to make it 70-0. Elijah Banks, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season, goes in from 2 yards out. 8:29 as the clock continues to wind. Catlett pops a kick up along the far side. It's going to take a bounce out of bounds at about the 38-yard line, and penalty markers will fly. It is now a penalty when it goes out like that, where they'll mark it 5 yards ahead from where the spot it went out of bounds. So the Bulldogs will pick up another penalty. It's just their 6th for 50 yards.
Well, let's hope we can keep this clean the rest of the ball game. This has gotten a little bit chippy out there with 2 of the last 4 plays. There were personal fouls, roughing the quarterback, and you don't want to have that. You don't want to have that kind of a bad blood going. 7 minutes and 40 seconds on the running clock. So hopefully this clock will continue to run a little faster than normal.
It'll get set down at the 44 in Jefferson territory as they move from right to left. 1st down and 10. Pearson back out there at quarterback, awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it. Corbin Pearson steps up in the pocket and now goes down. Martinsburg getting a big rush on him and will get the sack. Inside the 40, back at around the 37, -7 yards.
Martinsburg with a lot of new guys in the football game. Jamil Robinson playing as a defensive back on the near side. Also number 15, Joshua Warfork in the secondary.
It'll bring up 2nd and about 17 as they get the football set.
Ethan Embray, number 33, is a linebacker.
He was our Dog Tag Senior Profile in the pregame show if you missed it.
Quentin Brown coming into the ball game.
And keep an eye on Reese Duffy, 23. He already has a couple of
Yes.
varsity picks, and Coach Sherman talks about him on the JV level almost every week. 2nd down and 17, trip receivers to the left. Pearson out of the gun, awaits that snap. He's got it, looks near side, lets it go. In and out of the hands of the slot receiver. Intended for John Gidney. And right there was Embry. Defensively for the Bulldogs to make a little contact right at the end of that pass incompletion.
Caleb Pryor into the ball game now for Martinsburg.
From their own 37, a 3rd and 17. 6 minutes on a running 4th quarter clock. Just 1 of 10 on 3rd down conversions tonight for Jefferson. Corbin Pearson has the shotgun snap, looking near side. Now has to run for it, heading far side, and will take on a tackler and be knocked out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. Tackle on that far side made by Amatrice Haskins. I hope I say that right. Ametrice. Haskins with the stop. Well, they do mark it at the 44. So that game was good for just about 7, and will bring up a 4th down and 10.
5:25 on the running clock. So they will punt it away. Some of the fans moaning and groaning, "Oh, go for it. What do you got to lose?" You don't give up on your team that way. You don't go for it here. You're down 70-0.
There is the snap back, and Long punches it out of there. Going to be taken on a bounce at about the 28-yard line. That is Thurston heading to the far side. A little stutter step move at the 30, and along the far side, numbers works out close to the 35. So that punt going to cover just about 27 yards And then the return going to pick up about 8 or 9. 4:45 to play in this one. All Martinsburg 70-0 as they are about to set a new West Virginia State record with their 37th consecutive victory. On first down and 10, let's see who the quarterback will be. It'll be Peyton Curry, 5'8" sophomore. We've seen him several times this season. Curry yet to throw the football, but does have 4 carries for 15 yards. He'll line up with a back to his right side, 2 receivers each way. That's Ramirez who takes the handoff. Flag flies as Ramirez turns the left corner and goes out of bounds after a short gain. But there will be, it looks like, a hold that occurs in the backfield. 52-27, Mountain Ridge over Spring Mills in the middle of the 4th, a report we just got via text. I did not see that one coming. Thought it would be much, much closer.
So did I.
So the hold penalty going to back Martinsburg up. Now 7 penalties for better than 60 yards. Set it inside the 25. We'll call it the 23-yard line, where it now becomes a first down and about 22 yards to go for a first. Curry takes the high snap, goes through his hands, plays it on a bounce, turning to his left, gets smothered outside the numbers and taken down for a loss on the play. Sean Corum leading the charge. Also in there, Jacob Simpson. So the snap was just a little bit high by the time Curry could corral it. He ends up losing a few more yards back to that 19, so that's -4.
Well, you're looking at a lot of obviously out of sync situations. These guys don't get a chance to work together. And basically they're going against predominantly the first group of Jefferson defense.
What play do you have for second down and about 26? There is the snap. Curry gives the handoff, and
that wasn't it.
Yeah, not much going there as Ramirez quickly hit. Javon Lang brings him down. Did he get back to the line of scrimmage?
I don't think so. I think he lost a little bit there.
Nope, he didn't. To the 17-yard line, -2 more.
2 minutes, 18 seconds remaining on the running clock, and for both teams, this is the best thing to happen to this clock to run out.
All right. 28. Third down and 28. Curry out of the gun with Ramirez to his left side. 3 receivers here to the right. There is the handoff, and Ramirez able to turn the corner, coming near side. Little cutback move to the 20. Cuts back out to his right to the 25. Cuts back to his left to the 30. Nice run out to the 35-yard line before eventually being brought down.
Those are nice cuts there.
So Ramirez picking up a lot of the territory that had been lost, but not quite enough. He gets 18 on that carry to bring up a 4th down and 10.
We've got 1 minute and 25 to go on the running clock, and let's see what Martinsburg does here. They're going to hold on to the football.
I think they're going to let the clock continue to wind,
and then
play clocks are off right now in this running clock situation. 1 minute and 6, 1 minute and 5, and now we're down under a minute left. Let's see what we're going to get as the clock continues to wind, and now they do signal let's start that play clock. So it's winding down. 13, 12, 11, 10. That's going to take us down under 40 seconds as we get down to 3, 2, 1. There will be the penalty on Martinsburg, but again, the clock does not stop even with the penalty. And so the final seconds are going to tick off of the clock. And the Martinsburg Bulldogs are going to establish a new Mountain State record as Martinsburg will pick up their 37th consecutive football victory, 14-0 in back-to-back years, winning back-to-back state championships, and now off to a 9-0 start to this season as Martinsburg gets the victory over Jefferson by the final score of 70-0. We'll come back and tell you all about it. We'll hear from Victoria's head coach David Walker and maybe a player or two as well as we check in with Jason on the sideline. All a part of our post-game show brought to you by WVUH East, Berkeley, and Jefferson Medical Centers, the best in healthcare close to home. We'll be back after this 2-minute timeout. Martinsburg beating Jefferson tonight 70-0.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
It's one of the toughest times you'll ever face when someone close to you passes away. It's a swirl of papers to sign and arrangements to be made, all while you're dealing with grief. At Brown Funeral Home, we encourage you to pre-plan. Pre-planning not only makes things easier for you, it protects you from rising costs. At Brown Funeral Home, our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson.
Come to Berkeley County, West Virginia and enjoy the events, the history, outdoor adventures, farm-to-table dining. Just 90 minutes from Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Berkeley County, West Virginia provides small-town sensibility close to the big city. Visit travelwv.com to find out more about all that Berkeley County has to offer.
Whether you need business cards, banners, magnets, office stationery, or promo material, Panhandle Printing and Design can make it happen. Call 304-267-7400 for a quote or visit us on the web at panhandleprintdesign.com.
Win over the Jefferson Cougars. We welcome you back once again here to Shenandoah Junction, where tonight the Martinsburg Bulldogs get a 70-0 win over the Jefferson Cougars and have set the new West Virginia state record for most consecutive victories at 37 in a row. The team celebrating, the band on the far side for Martinsburg playing the fight song as the team gathers in its huddle. Jason Colrick standing nearby about to grab Martinsburg head coach David Walker. We'll see who else he gets to talk to along with Jason and Vic Holmes. I'm Matt Miller. Matt Crawford back at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse, our TV10 cameraman. All Martinsburg tonight in this one. Vic, as we heard from David Walker at the half, it wasn't necessarily pretty in the first half, but they did what they needed to do to open up that huge lead, 49-0, and never look back.
No, it was not pretty. And, you know, again, like I said, it's been a long season. Even though it's been short, it's still a long season. You still play the same amount of games. When you have the season they're having, it's a short, quick season. And, you know, if you're 0 for 7, 0 for 8 or something like that, or 1 for 9, you know, it's a long season.
All right, let's check in with Jason. The Bulldogs have broken their huddle. He's got Coach Walker.
Coach, my first question is, how did that bath feel?
Well, they only got me partly, so it wasn't too bad. My right side's a little wet, but yeah, it's kind of cold out here. It's probably not the best thing, but you know, I'm excited for these guys, happy for them, and it says a lot about the kids that we've had, not only the last couple of years, but the last 20 couple of years. So, you know, those guys years ago laid the foundation for what we're able to do, and you know, but we don't want to stop now. We want to keep going.
Coach, how much time will you take to celebrate 37 in a row? I mean, that's an accomplishment, a state record that stood for a long time.
No, I probably won't celebrate it because I don't think it's going to be the end of it. I hope not, anyway. I mean, I'll think about it a little bit tonight, but you know, tomorrow we got to get ready for Musselman.
You said in the first half that your team didn't come out sharp. Were you a little disappointed in that?
I was. I mean, I felt like we played down a little bit, but I mean, even though we scored a lot of points, but I saw a lot of mistakes. We had some guys individually just make some plays that normally you're not going to be able to make, so we'll have to clean some things up.
You know, you talked about in the pregame that this team, it does have a lot of talent. Maybe that their record is not indicative of how good it is. How much of that was played a part in the first half?
Well, I mean, they've got some talent. You know, they're talented. You know, they just probably don't have enough pieces, and not as many pieces of what we have to the puzzle. So, but they do have. There's 4 or 5 of those guys that could play for us, no problem. So, you know, the fact that we come out and took care of business, I'm pleased with it.
Coming into the game, you were a little banged up and saw a couple more players go down. How much does that concern you going forward?
It's always a concern, but I don't think anything tonight was anything serious. So, you know, but it's part of the game. I mean, you have to play. So, you know, whatever happened to us tonight, we'll just have to, you know, get healthy this week. But I don't, you know, a couple little boo-boos on their, you know, legs or ankles, whatever, nothing serious.
It seemed like the Christmas maybe wasn't there on the offensive side, but the defense came out and played really well.
Yeah, we did play well on that side of the ball. You know, we're pretty physical, we're fast, so it's a lethal combination, and you know, we were able to come up with some plays, and I think Trey set the tone with the pick 6, so it was a big play for us on defense, and to get the shutout's huge, so I'm pleased for those guys.
Yeah, you know, real quick, I know you're going to be looking at a matchup next weekend with Musselman, both teams coming in undefeated. Obviously, a lot of bonus points in your final regular season. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it'll be a great matchup. You know, Coach Thomas has a great team, and he's doing a great job there. You know, last regular season game for us, and I think they have one more after that maybe, but it should be a great matchup. A lot of excitement, a lot of intensity. Should be a big crowd, great atmosphere.
What would be your one takeaway from the team tonight?
I don't know. Just that, you know, we got through it, and you know, we have to get ready for next week.
Congratulations, Coach, on your state record, and continue that down the line.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. There you go, Matt. All the players just kind of disappeared and went and celebrated on me.
Well, there you go. I'm sure we'll get a chance to catch up with them during the week. Well, Vic, before we take our first break, let's get back to what you were talking about as we were discussing, you know, just the way this one played out. Martinsburg making the big plays that they needed to make in this one to really pull away.
Yeah, they did. There was a big play night for them, and we talked about it in pregame as one of the things that Jefferson had to defend against was the big play. It's very hard to do against this football team. You know, when you get the pick 6, and Martinsburg takes the ball down and score the first possession, and then they get that pick 6, and you're down 14-0 before you can really blink an eye or get settled in your seat. That made it very, very difficult, and you know it's going to be, and you know, as a player, and that first couple plays, you have a pretty good idea what you're going against, speed-wise, strength-wise, and so forth. And one of the things that Coach Walker mentions, the fact that is so true, that Martinsburg up front has decent size. They're not huge. They have decent size up front, but they're smart and they're quick. You know, that's one of the things that assets that most teams don't have. A lot of teams have the size. A lot of teams has quickness, but this team has a combination of both of those things that makes them so unique. And the secondary is just unbelievable. There's not a, I will venture to say there's not a, you'd have to go a long ways around here in any direction to find a better secondary as far as coverage and speed and quickness and that sort of thing than this Martinsburg group. So, you know, they both lend to each other very, very well.
As a result, Martinsburg makes it 37 consecutive wins as they improve to 9-0, getting the victory tonight over Jefferson by a 70-0 final. We'll take a 1-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll run some of the numbers from this one. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
It's the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in March.
close to home. Some of the numbers in this one as we continue with our postgame show, brought to you by WVUH East, Berkeley, and Jefferson Medical Centers, the best in healthcare, close to home. Well, for Jefferson, 32 plays in that first half for 24 yards, just 10 offensive plays in that second half with a running fourth quarter clock, 20 additional yards. That's 42 plays for 44 yards, 30 rushing, and 14 passing. Jefferson ended up turning the football over 3 times on the night, and went just 1 of 11 on third down conversions, 0 of 1 on fourth down conversions, and the Bulldog defense really getting into the backfield as they forced not only a couple of fumbles, had an INT, and 3 sacks as well.
Well, you know what? Martinsburg was just simply, I thought, very dominating up front. I thought they got off the ball so much quicker than Jefferson. It seemed like the ball game was played on the other side of the line of scrimmage, just about every snap. So I thought, really, if you take a look at the quarterback in his situation, Pearson, I thought he did a good job considering the pressure he was under, because he was under a lot all night long, whether it be a run play or whether it be a pass play or, I thought he did a good job of handling that aspect of it, but just a lot of pressure from Martinsburg.
And we said coming in, he had been sacked 15 times. You talked about pressure being key, and it was key tonight as the Bulldogs able to get to the quarterback. You mentioned Pearson. We had him 3 of 13 passing for 14 yards and 11 carries for just 1 yard. Jacob Gamble had 7 carries for 13 yards, and leading the ground attack with 8 carries for 30 yards was Aaron Gravel. Let's turn to the Martinsburg Bulldogs. 23 plays, 231 yards in the first half. Second half, 17 plays, added 83 more yards and 3 more scores. So 40 total plays, 314 yards, 121 on the ground, and 193 through the air.
It's been a long time since we've come up with stats of Martinsburg of 40 plays. It's been a long time since we've heard something like that. But it's just one of those types of ball games where, again, both teams used a lot of the clock, and I think for Martinsburg's sake, well, even more so for Jefferson, it was good that they did. But Martinsburg used theirs very wisely tonight. I thought they just took their time and very patiently figured out what they wanted to do and just did it.
All right. Let's look at a couple of individual numbers for the Bulldogs. Well, let's roll through a couple of other team numbers, just a couple, and that's 2 of 6 on third down conversions for the Bulldogs. They had 16 first downs, 8 penalties for 65 yards. They did turn the football over just once, but took it away 3 times, so still +2 in that category. Some individual numbers. Grant Harmon, 4 of 6 passing, 138 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. We also had Harmon at about 5 carries for 13 yards. Had a rushing score as well. 5 of 8 passing, 55 yards, and a touchdown for Elijah Banks. Looking at the ground game, how about 10 carries for 78 yards, 3 touchdowns in that second quarter for Naeem Kearney. And late in the game, nice job, 4 carries, 21 yards for Ramirez, who came in for some duty there late in this ball game. Martinsburg going on for the victory by the final of 70-0. All right, we take one final timeout, 1 minute in length. We come back here and we wrap up our portion of the post-game show as we name a player of the game and look to what is next for both of these teams. Then we send it back to the studio where Matt Crawford has everything you want with highlights and scores during the Extra Point post-game scoreboard show. So let's take our minute break and then come back. You guys be thinking about it. Who's our player of the game tonight? We'll find out next. It's West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR and TV 10.
Looking for a job? Valley College in Martinsburg is hosting a career fair Friday, October 19th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Over 35 local vendors will be on hand, ready to talk to you. To learn more, go to valley.edu and see how Valley College can help you find the career you're looking for. Listen to what our graduates have to say.
When I first came here for my tour of the college, I really felt like I was surrounded by family already. I've never felt like that going to a school.
Valley College, Edwin Miller Boulevard, Martinsburg.
Get your flu shot at the Berkeley County Health Department, 122 Waverly Court in Martinsburg. Here's Angie Gray.
There's 2 influenza A strains, which is the H1N1 that's been circulating. H3N2 is in the flu vaccine this year. They have adapted it to the circulating strain that was predominant last year. They've increased that to be a better match. Then there's 2 B flu vaccine strains that are in the vaccine. So it's quadrivalent is all that's available this year. There's no more trivalent, so you'll get all 4 of those strains to help be protected with this shot.
As he is now up in the
all right, we welcome you back one final time here to Jefferson High School, where tonight all Martinsburg getting the win over the Cougars, 70-0. Before we look at what is next for both of these teams, time for our player of the game discussion, and we bring Jason back as he is now up in the warmer, less windy confines of the press box. Jason, we'll let you start. Where do you go on a night like tonight?
On a night like tonight, I guess I'm looking at the early play when the game was still undecided. And I look at Gerard Bowie. He had the early touchdown run to put us up 7-0. And then, yeah, I mean, he had Stein with the interception, but then you had Bowie with the huge punt return that also set up the second touchdown, or the third touchdown, or second offensive touchdown. So, you know, he was a difference maker there early in the game. So I kind of look at his performance early in the game and go, you know what, that's when the game was decided. There was a lot of good play throughout the game, but at that point, the game had been decided.
All right, so a vote for Gerard Bowie.
I go along with that, but you know, really, there really wasn't an outstanding player per se in this ball game. And I think you might be right with Bowie, because that was the initiation of this game getting started. It was kind of like lame there for a while.
The whole team's the player of the game.
I go along with that, but I'd like to give a second kudos to the entire team. I mean, for, you know, breaking the record.
You know, if you're going to do that, then you got to go back and get player.
What was that? Go again?
You got to be a little decisive. I mean, hey, the whole team's a player of the game. I mean, when you look at the score,
well, you know, I think that's a state record. I mean, it's
3 years ago.
We're probably never going to see that again unless by another team.
But you know, if you're going to do that, then you got to go back and give player of the game to
2 years ago.
The last 3 years. I mean, this didn't happen tonight.
No, this record was broken tonight. No, the record.
I understand, but the record started 3 years ago. So, and you've had some great players come up through the ranks. So if you're going to go with the whole team, then you're going to have to go back to the 2 years ago to start it.
There it is, the last 3 years.
The whole team 3 years ago didn't play tonight. We're talking about tonight's game will be this team tonight who played only. But no, I like Gerard Bowie.
There it is. I'm not even throwing a vote in there.
I think he did an excellent job. I think he got everything going.
All right, let's wrap it up.
It was a team that was kind of staying around waiting for something to happen, for somebody to do something. He did it, got things initiated,
not going to be an easy game
from that point on, it was like everybody was involved.
Hosting the Washington
There it is. I'm not even throwing a vote in there and starting another fight. Gerard Bowie, our player of the game. All right, let's wrap it up. Next up for the Jefferson Cougars, right back here at home next week, South Hagerstown comes to town. Not going to be an easy game there either, and then they'll close out hosting the Washington Patriots. We wish the Cougars all the best through the final 2 games of the regular season, now 1-7 after this one today. And for the Martinsburg Bulldogs, are you ready for this? This will be the 3rd time this year that Martinsburg has gone into a matchup of undefeated teams. They went in undefeated against Academy Park, and then they went in an undefeated matchup against Sharando and Musselman all over Washington tonight. So the Applemen and the Bulldogs both will be undefeated next Friday night when they meet at Coburn Field.
Well, that's going to be obviously the game of the year, last game of the season, regular season for Martinsburg. 2 undefeated teams, cross-county rivalry. So I think that's going to be important for obviously both teams, but I think it's going to be more important, I think, for Martinsburg, more so than anything else. They're going to be obviously the odds-on favorite to win that ball game, and I think it's going to be important that they come out and play like they're the #1 team in the state.
You know, the good part about that game is the potential. The team that wins that probably gets an automatic 1 or 2 bid, but the team that loses that game is probably still in the top 4, and probably gets the opportunity to host at least the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So there might not necessarily be a loser in that game in the long run of the playoff standings.
Well, we will see how it plays out next week, as we will be there once again with all the play-by-play coverage. Martinsburg hosting Musselman Friday night at 7, the pregame at 6, and Miller time at 5 right here. That wraps up the WVU East Berkeley and Jefferson Medical Center post-game show, the best in healthcare, close to home. Hey, don't go away. Coming up, we're headed back to the studio. Matt Crawford has highlights, scores, and more. The Extra Point post-game scoreboard show is coming up next. Thanks to each of our sponsors supporting our coverage of high school football. We thank you for joining us, both on radio and television. Thanks to the athletic director, Bill Stewart, and all the staff and folks here at Jefferson High School and Cougar Stadium for their help and support and hospitality with today's game broadcast. And thanks to both head coaches providing interviews and information for the game as well. Thanks to Vic Holmes, my partner, Jason Colrick from the sideline. Stay tuned. Matt Crawford's got more back at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse is our TV10 cameraman. Dylan Thomas getting some action shots down along the field that you'll catch on TV10 as well. Thanks to everyone for their hard work here this evening. I'm Matt Miller reminding you our final: Martinsburg 70, Jefferson nothing. Until next week. So.
And that concludes today's postgame show. Be sure to tune in each week throughout the regular and postseason for more West Virginia high school football featuring the AAA Martinsburg Bulldogs. Today's game has been brought to you by
Miller Honda, 3985 Valley Pike, Winchester. Appalachian Heating and Air, where quality meets comfort. WVUH East, the best in healthcare close to home. Bechtel Jewelers, exceptional service at affordable prices. Berkeley County Health Department, get your free radon test kit today. The Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc. Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, are you in good hands? Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And Valley College, graduate with a career you love at Valley College.
The game may be over, but don't go away just yet. It's time for the Extra Point, where we add on scores and information from other games around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. So let's get it started as we head back to the Talk Radio WRNR studios.
And we welcome you back into the Talk Radio WRNR studios. It's the Extra Point post-game show. I am Matt Crawford. 37 consecutive victories. That's a new record in the state of West Virginia. 70-0, Martinsburg over Jefferson this evening. But still want to reiterate what Vic talked about throughout the game, what I mentioned at halftime, and what a lot of people saw or heard throughout this game. Jefferson played very well, and this is one of the tougher tests that Martinsburg had all year, especially looking in early parts of this game in the first quarter and early into that second quarter. The score will not show it, but really Jefferson came out and played very, very well tonight. All right, let's get it started with some highlights before we take a look at what else went on around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State in Week 9 of this high school football season. Due to technical difficulties, we could not get you the first highlight, the first touchdown, but it was Gerard Bowie from Grant Harmon from 40 yards out. Gave Martinsburg the early 7-0 lead. On the next ensuing drive for Jefferson, it was Trey Sign on the defensive side of the football with his interception that he took back for 6 to make it 14-0.
Back to throw, lets it go near side, off the hands of the intended receiver, picked off at the 45-yard line and down the near sideline. There goes Trey Sign. He's going to race all the way into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That pass intended for John Gidney along the near side as he reached up and had a tick off of his fingertips. Sign was right there to pick it off and go 55 yards.
The next offensive drive, it was a 71-yard catch and run by Teddy Marshall from Grant Harmon to make it a 3-touchdown lead after the first quarter.
Throws far side, throws a little high, but pulling it down is Teddy Marshall. Marshall on the wide receiver screen, stays in bounds along that far side, and now outraces everyone down the sideline. He's going to go all the way. He's to the 5 and into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. That high pass looked to blow off any timing on that play, but as he pulled it down and got through the initial guys that were there being blocked by the Bulldog wide receivers, well, no one could catch him, and he takes it in from 71 yards away.
The second quarter would be the quarter of Kearney. Naeem Kearney, I'm speaking of, 3 touchdowns out of the 4 that the Bulldogs would score in this second quarter. He got it started with a 1-yard touchdown and punched it in from just 1 yard out to give the Bulldogs a 28-0 lead.
That is Grant Harmon. He will turn, hand it off. Kearney off that left side of the line, follows those blocks into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Naeem Kearney with his 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
The very next drive, he would punch it in, this time from 2 yards out to make it 35-0.
Naeem Kearney coming back out. R.J. Barrett will be a lead blocker along with Asa Kramer-Gaskins as Martinsburg goes with that heavy formation to the left. Harmon out from under center, hands it off that left side. Naeem Kearney gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown, his second TD run of the first half.
Grant Harmon would use his legs from 8 yards out to make it a 6-touchdown lead late in the second quarter.
27 yards on that punt return, and with 4:24 to play in the first half, football at the 8-yard line. First and goal. Grant Harmon takes the snap, rolls to his right, sees an opening, cuts upfield, and sprints into the end zone for the touchdown. 8 yards on that TD run and went in untouched.
Here's Naeem Kearney's third touchdown run of the second quarter alone. This one, he found some open turf. This from 43 yards out to give the Bulldogs a 7-touchdown lead heading into the half.
With the ball at the 43 of Jefferson, Grant Harmon taking the shotgun snap, gives to Naeem Kearney. Started to his right, cuts back to his left, now cuts downfield, and it's a foot race to the goal line, and Naeem Kearney wins it as he goes in from 43 yards out again, virtually untouched.
Couple of facts from that second quarter. The Naeem Kearney 2-yard run followed by the Grant Harmon 8-yard run, and then that 43-yard run I just played, 3 consecutive offensive plays. So they scored touchdown number 5, 6, and 7 on 3 consecutive plays. Naeem Kearney's first touchdown run of that quarter to make it 28-0, his 13th of the year. So in that second quarter alone, he would add his 13th, 14th, and 15th touchdown of the season. This kid is going to be good in a few years because you know what? He's already good now. I don't think many people would have expected Naeem Kearney to have 15 touchdowns going into the last week of the season. This kid's upside is going to be fantastic because he is already absolutely outstanding for his size and his age right now. 49-0, your halftime score down at Shenandoah Junction. Obviously, with the lead that big, you expect Martinsburg to take the foot off the gas a little bit, put in some of the younger guys, and that's just what they did in the second half. Michael Boite would catch this touchdown pass from Elijah Banks to start the third quarter from 30 yards out. This would make it 56-0 in the third.
Banks to throw on 1st and 10, deep over the middle, and has the open receiver as Michael Boite makes the grab inside the 10 and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown along the near side hash mark. He had gotten to step on the defensive back Corbin Pearson, a well-thrown ball from Banks, and it's a 34-yard score.
It would be Boite again later in the third quarter, this time from Grant Harmon, and this time from only 15 yards out.
Here is the wide receiver screen near side. Michael Boite with the catch. Blockers in front to the 5 and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
63-0 after 3 quarters of play. 1 touchdown would be added in the fourth quarter. It would be this 2-yard run by Elijah Banks to make it a 10-touchdown lead and victory for the Bulldogs. 70-0 your final score after this.
Well, let's see what the Bulldogs do now coming out of the timeout. They line up on the 1st and goal from the 2. The snap back to the quarterback, and Elijah Banks going to keep it right up the middle and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
Again, your final 70-0 and the 37th consecutive victory for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. And don't forget, they had a 32-game winning streak earlier in the 2010s. So this dynasty is really just making more and more notches on that belt. And got to give credit to head coach David Walker and that coaching staff to just keep this dynasty up through different classes, through different ups and downs. They have stayed consistent since he has been here. So congratulations to the Bulldogs. 37 consecutive victories, and who knows how high it can go this season as they are still the #1 team in AAA across the state of West Virginia. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the other scores from around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State from this evening. And then after that, we'll take a look at what's going on next week in high school football and what's going on over the weekend in college and professional football. You're listening to the Extra Point Postgame Show. I'm Matt Crawford, and this is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelly Blue Book, visit kbb.com for information.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, it makes sense to choose an insurance agent that's a part of your community. Your local Allstate agent knows the ins and outs of both owning and protecting a home in your neighborhood. By choosing a local Allstate agent, you get an expert who knows the community and is committed to getting to know you, which means you'll get the protection that fits you and your life. Are you in good hands? Contact Martinsburg Allstate agent Gary Kelly today for a free quote at 263-4596. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company.
Welcome back into the Extra Point Postgame Show. Matt Crawford here with you in the Talk Radio WRNR studios following a 70-0 victory for the Martinsburg Bulldogs over the Jefferson Cougars. 9-0 now for the Bulldogs. The Cougars drop to 1-7, and Martinsburg wins their 37th consecutive game, a state record across the Mountain State for consecutive wins. Some other games going on around the Eastern Panhandle this evening, and if you happen to be at any of these games and want to give us a call in and tell us in detail how they went, we'd love to hear from you. 304-263-6540. Again, 304-263-6540. If you were at any of the other Eastern Panhandle games, give us a call. We'd love to hear how those went in detail. But let's start with some scores. A 70-6 victory. It was Musselman over the Washington Patriots. Musselman stays undefeated. Boy, that is going to be a fun game next Friday night as Musselman will come up the county a little bit to Coburn Field. The battle of undefeateds, and probably still going to be the 1-3 matchup in the Mountain State. Going to be a good one. It was Hedgesville over Hampshire, 42-13. Hampshire jumped out to a one-touchdown lead. It was 6-0 early, and then Hedgesville ended up scoring 35 straight points, 35 unanswered, that is. Go on for the 42-13 win. Hedgesville now improves to 6-3. They snap a 2-game losing streak. And Mountain Ridge over Spring Mills, 59-34. That drops Spring Mills to 3-5. It's going to make it awfully tough for them to make the playoffs with that. So they have a tough road ahead of them. We talked to Coach Chad Williams earlier in the week of the Cardinals, and his mindset was pretty much we need to win out if we want to make the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to talk to him this week. To catch that, make sure you tune into Miller Time on Thursday. It's our high school football preview show. So that's what's going on around the Eastern Panhandle tonight, or featuring Eastern Panhandle teams. Again, Mountain Ridge over Spring Mills, 59-34. It was Hedgesville over Hampshire, 42-13. And a game very similar to the one you heard right here tonight, a 70-6 victory for Musselman, and once again, 70-0 Martinsburg over Jefferson. All right, let's take a look at what else was going on around AAA in the Mountain State tonight. Again, Week 9 coming to a close tonight. Capital over Woodrow Wilson. That game last updated in the third quarter, but I think we can call that one. It was 51-0 the last time that was updated. Capital with the lead there. It was Cabell Midland 21-7 over Huntington. That's an upset for you guys. That's a 12-5 upset. Cabell Midland came in 500. Huntington was 6-1, so that is an upset. That should shake up the top 10 when it comes to the rankings. Those will come out early in the week. Ripley and St. Albans. Ripley up 50-24. That game last updated in the fourth quarter. Parkersburg South and Greenbrier East. They had the AAA game of the week. Last updated in the fourth quarter, it was Parkersburg South with the 48-12 lead. Looks like they're going to go on for the victory. Wheeling Park was taking on Princeton. Princeton remains defeated. They're still looking for their first win of the season. 52-20, Wheeling Park gets the win. They improve to 6-2 on the season. John Marshall and Morgantown, another upset for you right here. John Marshall, the number 9 seed right now, or I should say the number 9 team in the rankings for AAA across the Mountain State when it comes to the WVSSAC playoff rankings. 5-2 going into this game. Morgantown just 3-5. Morgantown stomps them 49-13, a good win for the Mohegans. And they need all they can get as this season comes to a close quicker and quicker each week. University over Preston 50-0. Preston falls to 1-7. University back up above that 500 mark at 5-4. Riverside and George Washington in the fourth quarter. Right now, Riverside, who only came in at 1-6, a 3-point lead over 3-4 George Washington, who is still trying to stay in the playoff hunt. They came into this week number 15 in the rankings. That's looking to be a good one. Maybe we can get a final of that before we are off the air this evening. It was Brook and Buchanan Upshur going at it tonight. Buchanan Upshur a 27-14 win over the Brook team, still looking for their first win on the season. Buchanan Upshur gets their third win of the season. Again, 27-14 the final there. And Hurricane and South Charleston, this game last updated in the fourth quarter. But Hurricane looks like they're going to extend to 4-5 through 9 games. They had the 31-14 lead last updated in the fourth quarter. And AA games of interest, it was Fairmont Senior over Grafton 48-10. So that game just went final. Fairmont State, the number 1 team in AA. The number 1 team in single A, Wheeling Central, will play tomorrow. All right, that's what's going on around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State tonight. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's going on next week across the Eastern Panhandle and AAA and AA games of interest. When we look at Week 10 of the high school football season, we'll also take a look at what's going on over the weekend in college and professional football. This is the Extra Point Postgame Show. I'm Matt Crawford, and you've been listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
Tune in for West Virginia high school football.
Gives to Naeem Kearney up the middle of the field, slips through one tackle inside the 20, a stiff arm to the 10, to the 5, and into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. No stopping Naeem Kearney.
It's a top 3 battle in Class AAA as undefeated Martinsburg entertains undefeated Musselman on Friday night at Coburn Field. The kickoff at 7, our pregame at 6, Miller time at 5 p.m. on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10, your local leader in talk, news, sports.
Hi, I'm Philip McCoy. Ameriprise Financial has been serving and supporting this community for decades. We believe that every dream is personal and needs a personal plan. That's why you can count on the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, to understand your unique needs and goals. Whether you want to make the most of the money you have, save for a comfortable retirement, or plan to leave a legacy, the Mirius Group can help you realize your dreams of today and tomorrow. Call the Mirius Group at 304-263-4343. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome back into the Extra Point Postgame Show here on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10. If you're tuning in on TV 10, then you're not hearing me right now. Our coverage just went off. It goes until 10 o'clock on game nights. And, hey, don't forget, Wednesday nights, it's going to be the replay throughout the rest of the season. Watch every Martinsburg High School football game live on TV 10 on Friday nights, and then we are going to re-air them on Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock on the dot. So if you happen to miss part of the action or just want to relive history, make sure you tune in Wednesday night at 7 o'clock following Miller time right here on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10. All right, Martinsburg, again, 70-0 over Jefferson this evening, 37 in a row. It's a new win streak record in the Mountain State of West Virginia. A couple other scores from tonight. Again, real quick, just the Eastern Panhandle. I'm not going to go through all of them again. It was Musselman over Washington, 70-6. Hedgesville over Hampshire, 42-13. And Mountain Ridge over Spring Mills, 59-34. Let's take a look at what's going on next week across the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. If my computer decides to work, it does not. All right, I was going to tell you what's going on around the Mountain State next week. Can't do it up? Yeah, we can. Just fixed it. All right. Jefferson will play South Hagerstown. Then we're looking at Spring Mills taking on North Hagerstown. So a couple of Hagerstown teams battling here in the Eastern Panhandle next week. It'll be Washington and Hampshire. And then Hedgesville has the week off before they battle Spring Mills in the last week of the season. We will have that game right here on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10, since it'll be Martinsburg's bye week, because their regular season ends next week. And what a game to end the season. It'll be the battle of undefeated 8-0 Musselman taking on 9-0 Martinsburg. It'll be a top 3 battle in the Mountain State. That is shaping up to be a extraordinary game next Friday night. The pregame will be at 6, kickoff at 7 following Miller time at 5 p.m. Let's take a look at what else is going to go on around AAA in the Mountain State for Week 10 of the high school football season. It'll be Weir taking on Brook. That's a AA, AAA matchup, Weir being the AA. Parkersburg and Huntington. It'll be Warren, local Ohio, taking on John Marshall. University and Morgantown. That'll be a good matchup. That's the Morgantown battle. Wheeling Park will take on Parkersburg South. Buchanan Upshur and Preston. Greenbrier East and Princeton. It'll be Rowan County AA taking on Ripley in AAA. Capital and Riverside, St. Albans and South Charleston, and GW taking on Woodrow Wilson. That's what's going on in AAA next week. Spring Valley AAA will be taking on AA Point Pleasant. That is the only AAA school bumping down to play AA next week. Berkeley Springs had the week off this week, trying to find who they play next week after they come back from their week off. Can't find who they're battling next week, but Berkeley Springs still looking for their first win of the season after they fell last week to drop to 0-7. So Berkeley Springs still looking for their first win on the season. All right, let's take a look at what else is going on over the weekend as it pertains to college football. WVU is off, so we have no more WVU coverage this weekend. They'll be back in action Thursday when they take on Oklahoma. So that'll be a good game. Make sure you tune into that one. That'll be a Thursday game again, so odd timing. Make sure you tune in. It'll be, Baylor, not Oklahoma. Misspoke there. Not the Oklahoma game quite yet. Knew it was a Thursday night game. This one will be Baylor. That'll be a 5 p.m. pregame. So those of you tune in to Miller time each night at 5 p.m. Miller time will be from 4 to 5. Matt Miller and I will be doing our own little pregame show for the Baylor WVU game. Over the weekend, we do still have some college football action. At 11:30, we'll join the coverage of Oklahoma at TCU. That's where I got the Oklahoma from. Oklahoma at TCU, so a Big 12 battle and one that could have implications for the Mountaineers later on in the season. And then at 4 p.m., joining in progress, Alabama at Tennessee. So that's a good SEC battle. And then on Sunday, it's Redskin Cowboy weekend. The Dallas Cowboys come into FedEx Field to take on the Washington Redskins. That's a 4:25 kickoff. Our pregame will start right here at 2 p.m. Then after that game, we will join Cincinnati as they go to Kansas City to take on Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Then on Monday Night Football, it's the New York Giants at the Atlanta Falcons. And some switch-ups here. This week, Monday, will be the Dana Holgorsen press conference show. That is usually on Tuesday. And then Tuesday, we will have the Dana Holgorsen coaches show. So some flip-flop this week as it pertains to some stuff going on with the Mountaineers. And then again, they play on Thursday. So you'll get a lot of Mountaineer action this week for sure, especially when you look through Monday through Thursday. All right, once again, your final from down in Shenandoah Junction. It was Martinsburg 70, Jefferson 0. Martinsburg, their 37th consecutive win. There is now a new title holder for most consecutive wins in a row in the state of West Virginia. Make sure you tune in next week. It's Musselman at Martinsburg as Martinsburg tries to complete yet another undefeated season. We'll head you to NBC Sports Radio now. We appreciate you tuning in. This has been the Extra Point Postgame Show in West Virginia high school football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
And the Extra Point is up and good.